Howdy ho there, everybody. This is an unusual episode of Breaking Change because there's people in it. This is a one-man show where I take all the credit, but I'm not the only one who does work, who performs emotional labor so that you can enjoy this production. I've got a partner in crime here, a silent co-host, who is joining me today as a special guest, for a New Year edition of Breaking Change. His name is Aaron Patterson. Some of you know him by his internet handle Tender Love.
Hello.
I wasn't done.
Oh, sorry.
I'm not a good interviewer, so I'm just going to talk a lot, and you'll get opportunities. But I know we're going to give Aaron multiple opportunities to plug his shit. But if you believe in internet websites, you can go to his at tenderlovemaking.com. And you'll get exactly what you expect. So
programming stuff.
Yes. Aaron, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. From what I understand, this is the first time you've had an interview or interviewed someone on your podcast, right?
It's the first time I've interviewed someone.
Or the first time you've had a guest on your podcast.
That's for sure. Yes, it's a lot of firsts. I'm it's like always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I'm always the guest, never the host. And here I am.
So you could say that this is a breaking change.
This is absolutely a breaking change, and
a breaking change.
So I'm going to announce version 27, the breaking release. We're going to call it the first annual Punsort, and that will make sense in a moment. My name is Justin Searles. I'm the host of the show, and if you didn't know that before you started listening, I don't know how you found it. I doubt that the podcast algorithm is recommending me to enough people to know that they want to listen to something called Breaking Change, and they don't know that I'm the host. But here I am. If this is actually going to be another special for another reason, because Aaron is here, I didn't think to ask him to generate a new pun for me in advance. So it's going to be the first version without a new premeditated pun. Unless you brought one with you, Aaron.
I made the one earlier about this being a breaking change. I thought that counted.
Shit. Nope. Not going to count it. Sorry, man. We got quality standards here, and if I don't see it in the invisible ink in my iMessage, I don't. So there will be puns. Puns will happen, but they will we will be emitting them in real time. One assumes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm new at interviewing, so I'm checking my notes here, and it says, "Let's have a few minutes of awkward banter to warm up."
Banter. I think I've only listened to your podcast maybe once. That's not true. I've listened to it, so I've made it all the way through on one episode. I've listened to it multiple times, but I've only made it through completely through one episode. But I have the whole intro music memorized. It's so catchy. It's so good.
I listen to the intro music, and then you start talking, and then I log off. That's
pretty much. I love it, and then you're saying stuff it's so good.
Well, as a special treat, if you listen all the way to the end, I play it again at the end of every episode. So,
oh really?
No one knows that. It's an Easter egg. It's like you go to a bunch of movies and you don't know they play credits at the end. But yeah, that's what we do. I'm curious. It's the holiday season, and this is a New Year's special. How have your holidays been? Any interesting happenings?
How have they been? Eating too much food. That's about it. It's been fine. I don't know. Christmas was good. Didn't do too much. My sister came over. I cooked food. It was good. We enjoyed it. Like I said, ate too much, man.
Did you? I'm trying to think through the list
ready to not eat.
I'm thinking of food Aaron likes to make. Did you have any meats that you'd cured yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I made turkey confit. So I confit a turkey, but just the
head and feet.
The thigh, the thighs. It took 3 pounds of duck fat to do this.
Jesus Christ.
Yes. You can buy that much duck fat online. It's a thing. It's a thing you can do.
Not in California. But
Probably not. No.
how many ducks does it take to render 3
pounds of fat? I have no idea, dude. Like, I kept thinking that. I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. How much fat is on a duck?
Is it a whole family of ducks? Do they all just... If you think
it had to be. Yeah. I have no idea.
And so, all right. So there's the meats involved. Did you have any locally foraged mushrooms from Bellevue, Washington?
Nah. From Bellevue, Washington. Nah. Nothing that fancy. We just had turkey, potato salad, and like what else did I make? Like collard greens and beans. I was trying to keep it easy, because like a trap I fall into is I really enjoy cooking, but then like people come over and I cook stuff and it's too much work and I'm too tired. So I feel like I'm spending the whole time like working and not enjoying company. So
right, because when I see Aaron at his house with a bunch of guests, I think he is going to totally enjoy himself under any circumstance ever. Because you're not an awkward motherfucker.
Yes. I also made... Oh, actually, that was a great question for you. Is this an E-rated podcast?
Yes.
Am I allowed to curse on here?
So because I've got, the Hugo front matter, the YAML at the top of every post, that configures the RSS feed that generates the podcast. And it's all variadic. I can customize everything for every episode. And I didn't even bother to make the explicit tag a variable. It's just hard-coded to true. So you don't have to worry about it. If there's ever a non-explicit podcast and somebody listens to it and they're like, that E label was unnecessary on this episode, then I'll go and add it.
All right, let's do this then. F word.
Let's do
poop.
Oh man. Aaron's like Googling George Carlin's whatever, the 7 words you can't say on television.
7 words you can't say yes.
Jesus.
Okay,
so I'm still done. I'm still working through your foods. So did you have any of the cheese wheels that you've made served at the? These are
telling you, dude. I was trying to relax. I didn't do anything.
Now you're gonna tell me that you don't have any at-home fermented miso paste involved in this meal.
So okay,
he's done all these things. If you don't know Aaron, this is.
Yeah, I have. We haven't broken out the miso paste yet. It's almost 1 year old. It's been aging for almost a year. I actually recently posted a video of it, or not a video, like photos of it online. We have the date written on it. So like I will put a little post-it note on it, and when I put it in its container, and I realized like we did it on January 6th, and because that's on the post-it. So then I was like, oh, I posted photos online. I'm like, boy, I hope nobody says anything about this.
Oh man, the thing about it is, it's hard to make jokes about political things in this generally, but also in this current climate. And so
in the current climate,
I thought of a pun, but I won't say it. But like,
okay,
5 minutes from now, the way that our brains work, right, is I'm going to think of another pun that's socially acceptable about this thing. And I'm going to have to call back to the J6 miso paste incident. Well, I'm sorry for your... How dare you? Do the work.
But it's like, okay, so the thing is, like, I know no one's going to say anything, but at the same time, I look at the date and I'm thinking it like, oh man, am I going to get in trouble because I made this on January 6th?
I think, so you and I mean, one of the things we first bonded for, we've been friends since 2013 or so. And one of the first things I think we bonded over was we both posted a lot of our lives on the internet, and we both had a higher than usual amount of fear of getting called out for mistakes or for saying the wrong thing. And so, for years, you and I would pre-screen tweets to each other. Is this okay? Is this over the line? And we'd say, that's hilarious, don't post it, or, that one's safe, and so I think a lot of people listening, they probably would never have noticed that they wrote Jan 6 on a thing, right? Like stuff has to happen on 9/11s, and life goes on. But for us, it's like, there's going to be some reply guy out there.
Because it's always a guy.
It's always a guy. All right. Other banter topics. Let's see. How's work been? Are you actually off work?
Yeah, dude. Totally off work. I don't even know what day it is. I have no idea.
That's the way to be.
Like this time between Christmas and New Year's is like just
it's sacred time.
No, yeah, time doesn't exist. It's basically right now is basically like airport rules is like nothing matters. Doesn't matter what time you get up, go to bed. Doesn't matter what you eat. Like it's just
you can play that video game you've been putting off forever because you're actually busy in your real life. You can
drink any time of day because it's airport rules. Nobody can judge.
And your house is the lounge.
Yes, exactly.
I think that's right. And one thing that I've noticed among us childless heathens, as well as parents, but also only men who don't want to be with their kids during this magical week, your GitHub contribution graph goes through the roof. Like, I personally, for me, like, I've probably published 40 Ruby gems, and I would hazard a guess that 15 of them were created during Christmas vacations when, I didn't have anything better to do. Are you the same way? Do you program?
I don't know. I mean, I've been doing a little bit of coding during this holiday week, just on a little compiler I'm messing with. But like right before this, we got on this podcast, I got stressed out because it seems like I released a gem. And then I checked the GitHub repository. This is a huge mistake. I checked the GitHub repository right before we were gonna chat, and I noticed somebody sent a pull request, and I was like, "Oh, this is a nice pull request." So I merged it in, and I go to the terminal and do like a git pull, and I look, and it seems like maybe I hadn't pushed the previous commits before I pulled those, and maybe I didn't push the tag or something like that. And then I just got all stressed out about it. Like, oh no, they're gonna send me to open source jail.
Yeah, because the easiest way forward is going to be a force push that someone's going to notice.
Yes. Well, so I mean, someone's gonna notice I didn't push the tag, or someone's gonna notice that I did a force push.
Yeah.
Either way, going to open source jail.
Well, and
doesn't matter.
And if you wait a week, you're gonna fuck up and do it on January 6th.
Yeah,
they're gonna be like, "Man, I don't."
Wow!
How dare you?
Wow!
This is a time for solemn reflection and/or celebration, depending on
yes,
which zip code you were raised in.
How dare you work on this day? I got super stressed out about it. Now I'm trying to not think about. I don't want to think about open source or programming at the moment, except for my fun times.
Right.
Fun times programming.
Well, Well, I mean, you're a weirdo because your job has been open source for so long that for me, Christmas break was permission to do stuff that had absolutely no financial benefit to my employer. But you spend 365 days a year having no financial benefit to your employer. So there's not a sharp contrast.
Can we edit this part out of the podcast? I don't like that.
I'm just trolling, man.
I know.
It's the BMW shifter project. There is a line. It's just that in order for you to actually find projects that you could not conceivably call work, you have to go so over that line. Right?
Yes.
You got to make the terminal alarm bell or the BMW shifter. Do you have a more recent one that you just did, or maybe you just chatted with me about?
Oh, I'm still working on it. I should finish that project.
Yeah, well, don't spoil it on air because reveal is the prestige.
Well, I already I spoiled it at Rails World.
Oh, did you?
I'm still working on it. I'm very excited about it. It's a
I forgot.
like a combination lock for your computer. So you do to unlock your computer. You do combination lock. It's for those times when like typing your password is too hard. Like you're wearing boxing gloves and you need to unlock your computer. You know what I mean?
And then like there's going to be somebody who buys this product from your Shopify shop. There, you see, I'm not totally.
Yes.
I'm here to support your brand.
Yep.
Hear that, Aaron's boss?
Yeah.
So you start a Shopify shop and you sell these combo locks that have this evil attached to the back of them. And somebody from Microsoft's going to put it on their MacBook and it's going to say, for our password, we use passphrases, not passwords. And so like the minimum length is going to be like 48 numbers and they're going to have to do 48 because each time you turn the lock, right, you increment the number of twists. Isn't that right? It's like first you pick the number and then you go over one and then you go to the second and you got to go over two to the right. So if you have 48 numbers, that's like carpal tunnel, right? That's that's an OSHA violation.
That's not how.
And that's not how you're doing.
That's not how it works. No.
Is that not how combo box
it's normal
or how yours works?
Well, you do 3. It's only going to be 3 numbers.
Right.
It's only going to be 3 numbers, and after you do the 3 numbers, then it sends your password. To the computer.
Oh, right.
So when you buy it from me, like every one of them is actually custom made, and when you buy it from me, you need to email me your password.
It's got to be plain text because I got to type it in.
Yes, I have to type it into the thing, and it's all custom, and then I send it to you.
And importantly, every time that Microsoft employee has to change their password every quarter, they got to buy another combo lock from you.
Yes. This is how this is the business model.
And then to avoid e-waste, they just give that one to a coworker who then changes their password. Effectively, has to change their password to whatever. So then they all,
to what exactly they reuse them. Yes, and then you keep
reduce, reuse, recycle. I mean, like I'm everyone's talking about how Microsoft's fallen back on their sustainability goals with all the AI investments that they've made, and this is a way to claw some of that back.
Exactly.
Through password reuse.
It all makes Yes. Yep. I mean, there's only so many passwords in the world, right? And we're running out of them. We need to start reusing our passwords.
The carbon offsets are not sufficient. There's no one building, growing a tree in Amazon for how often they make employees change passwords.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Yes. I think you hit the nail on the head right there. It's really.
We need a Sarah McLachlan background music to try to gin up some. Think of the
bites.
Yeah. Well, this is a year-end thing, so we could do one of those Oscars in memoriams where it's like this year, here's all the passwords that you changed and what they used to be. And what domains they were associated with. So it's it's like poopstick123 and then it's ashleymadison.com and you're like, no. Not that one. Although everyone already knows that one, right? Because it's public information.
Yeah. Well, it's public info. It makes sense. Yep.
All right. So what are we doing here?
The Punsort?
Yes. Well, before we get into that, I have because this is an interview, and I'm a professional broadcaster. I have one interview question for you, that I'm going to ask as if. Is this what they do? Is this what Anderson Cooper does? Is he sit down with a famous person and say, okay, so I have a question and I'm going to ask it now.
Yes.
So
may I ask you a question?
May I ask you a question now, sir? Please. Here's the question, in case you didn't know it was coming. So, what's it been like being a silent co-host of Breaking Change for the past year?
What's it been like? I mean, I enjoy it. It's so for those of you at home that don't know, I have to come up with a pun for every episode of Breaking Change. So basically the way that it works is Justin will text me and be like, I think I'm gonna do an episode this weekend. Can you send me a pun? And I'm like, okay. And then I try to think of one and then I send it to him. And sometimes notice is shorter than others. And that's rough.
It's basically, it's if you've got a dog, it's similar to you see the dog running around and you're like, oh, he's got to poop. We got to take that dog for a walk. It's basically like that. I'll get like a burble in my stomach and be like, I've got too much news to talk about. And then I'll text Aaron, like, I got to go.
But like I have a hard time. So usually when I come up with a pun, I have to have some sort of topic about, like, I need to think about something. And the other thing is, like, I mean, I want to be a good silent, co-host, I guess, and make a pun that's relevant to the particular podcast. So I don't know. It's a bit of work. But it's okay. I don't mind the fame.
Yeah, right. The pay is great.
Yeah,
you get 100% of all sponsor proceeds for the show. I don't know
exactly
how your agent negotiated a baller contract.
So I was actually thinking, like, one of these days, like, because you don't have any sponsors on your show, at least none. I haven't heard any.
None that desire to be talked about by me so far.
So I was thinking, like, maybe I could have my pun content sponsored. So one of these days, I'm gonna send you a
30-second reel of,
and it's gonna be this pun brought to you by, and then the pun.
If you record fake ads, I will put them in my Stream Deck so that they're mapped to a button, and then I will play them live and record them into the show. So that's.
Okay. I was also thinking of, like, just giving shout outs to people. So, like, you send me, I don't know, send me a nominal payment, maybe, like, let's just say a few thousand, something like that. Then I can be like, hey, Gary, and then the rest of the pun, and you'll read it out loud.
If you want to really run with the big dogs here, I think
monetize.
You gotta do the native product placement, because we're influencers. That's what we are, right? Yeah. So what you got to do is like Gary, right? So our friend Gary Bernhardt has a website, executeprogram.com, where you can go and learn how to program better, I guess. And I don't need it, and Aaron doesn't need it, but maybe you dipshits listening need it. I don't know. That's a great ad. That's like you nag the person, you make them feel bad, and then so I'm new at this. So we could have a pun, right? Or you could have a pun. You can do these deals on the side for all I care, because I'll just rank the pun where it falls. But you could literally work with Gary to, like, come up with a pun on contract that has the words execute and program in them, or refers to you using it, right? And then that way it's not just like, hey, this is sponsored by.
Yeah, I suppose so. That seems like too much guerrilla marketing, though, and I really want to have, like, I want to make sure that when I'm advertising to people, they know that it's an ad. Like, I don't want to be, too subtle like that. Yeah. So, like, I want the product to stand on its own merits. So I do like the idea, though. Execute program. I feel like all programs are executed, though. So,
you could do a capital punishment thing, right? So if there's, like, a big, you could tie it to something in the news, maybe like Luigi Mangione or whatever, right? Right. To make an example of him, they decide to kill him, and you're like, oh man. And then you could work. Do we not say kill him? Do we just say sentence them to death? That's what we say, right? So then you could work in a capital punishment pun with execute program.
Sure, I suppose so. I mean, we could have titled this episode "Execute Pun."
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I mean,
that would be if the name of the game was to pick a pun in this lineup and then shoot it in the head.
No, jeez.
Sorry, that would be what it is, right?
Okay.
If this was in Russian, that's what the show would have been.
I think execute pun would be like you make a pun, like you do it. You're executing the pun,
right?
So, like, I do this all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm in the middle of a conversation, and if you've ever had a conversation with me, I make this face where it's like, okay, I've got one.
Yeah. This is
And
the
I'm
literal, the
waiting-
dog is pooping face. It's the same
Like,
face.
I'm waiting for the right time to execute the pun
Yes.
in the conversation.
Bet-
And then finally I get to do it. I'm like, yes.
So Becky, from the day that she met you, which was probably 2014 or something, she loved you like a brother. She thought you were great. But she's just like, I feel like when I'm talking to Aaron, he'll just zone out to another planet and he's not listening to me anymore because he's workshopping a pun in his head or waiting to execute a pun.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave me the feedback recently. I think it wasn't Rails World. It was before then. And she's like, man, Aaron doesn't do that anymore. And I was like, he's just better at it. He's better at pretending he's listening, or he's better at dishing these out quickly.
No. I'm not pretending I'm listening. I'm listening extremely intently, like very intently. Because like if you don't listen, so there's a few different issues. It's like if you're not listening, you can't come up with a pun because it's got to be it's got to be relevant to the conversation, right? The other thing is like you need to find the right place in the conversation to land the pun. Otherwise, it's not going to work out. You can't just like blurt a pun out and have it land. So you have to be paying concentrating intensely on a conversation. So I don't know, when I'm making puns, I'm listening very, very carefully to everything people are saying. Maybe the issue is that I'm not like taking the conversation as seriously as
right
it should be, but I'm listening to everything.
Yeah, that's it. But honestly, I think you're totally right, because if the pun only that's really the only thing the pun has to do, is it just has to be relevant and has to have some kind of wordplay on it. If it's not relevant, you'll just confuse people, right?
Yep.
Which is why I think,
and you have to deliver it too. You got to land it, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's why I love the format of our show, where you'll write a pun and then I'll read it in a way which almost never lands. and then I've got to do the criminology to kind of get back into your head, and then I read it. I end up reading half these a dozen times. Well, speaking of the puns, let's dive into understanding what today is. Okay. So one of the I've got the mailbag set up, podcast@searls.co, and you can literally, you, Aaron, but also you, the listener, the person who I called a dipshit 5 minutes ago. You can email podcast@searls.co with any feedback you want, any questions, and some people, there are a few people who write me every week, and then there's a few people who, and I'm talking to you right now when I say this, a few people who've thought about emailing and have never emailed, and I encourage you to email. I promise to be nice to you. I won't call you a dipshit individually, only in aggregate, in population terms. But one of the leading pieces of feedback I get is that they disagree with how I've ranked these puns. Because every episode we rank the pun, we have to slot it in somewhere in the existing list, which is an inefficient way to it's like an array, right? If you just pick a random index and you throw something in at a particular index, and that's the only way to insert it into the vector, then eventually you're going to wind up with an order that makes no sense, right? And so these puns have become fragmented, like where there's in clusters of 3 or 4, the ordering makes sense. But if you read them all in order, and you're gonna actually get a chance to land your own puns.
Okay.
If you read them through order, like we have 26 of them. So we even though it's not a bi-weekly show per se, I successfully pulled off a show for every other week of the year. And if you read all 26 in order, it doesn't make a lot of sense, I don't think. And what the goal of today is to do a resort. And so, if we have all these different ways of sorting arrays and algorithms for it. You got bubble sort, you got quick sort. Our mutual friend Jen Schiffer came up with Jort sort and gave a talk about that a while. It's old enough now that it's got a Wikipedia page. So Jort sort's real. Well, today we're going to do Punsort, and we're going to introduce the Punsort Algorithm, and that's the name of the game that we're playing here today. And in order to do the Punsort, after the reading of the puns for the year of our Lord 2024, Aaron and I will take turns. Aaron, being the guest and the author of the puns, will go first. And I'm pulling up here now a numbers spreadsheet of all the puns. We're going to start with the broadcast order so that Aaron can read them. And then once we've begun the process and started like actually running the algorithm, he'll go first and he can drag any pun to any position in the list that he wants. He could take the 26th ranked pun and make it the first one. He could just swap 2 and 3, whatever he wants to do. And we'll discuss the merits of that choice. Then the conch shell will be handed over to me and I can do the same thing. Now, we could just cycle and keep going back and forth until we find consensus, or maybe I'll find a different pun and we'll just kind of play favorites and we'll end up with a new list. But the name of the game is that we continue doing this until the list doesn't change. So we'll keep, we'll each take turns and then we have nothing else to change and then we'll call it. Now that might be because we found the right list, or it might be because I just tired Aaron out and he wants to give up. Or maybe we just run until my Instacart order at 5 p.m. shows up and it's time to make dinner. One of those scenarios will markate the end of the first annual Punsort. So, Aaron, thank you for being here with me today. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I have I gotta say though, I'm really worried about this. I'm really worried about doing this project because I feel that all of my puns are the best puns. So ranking them doesn't make sense to me.
It's like picking a favorite child.
Yes. Or your project at work, all projects are highest priority, so all of my puns are the best.
Is that why you always have 800 emails in your inbox? You're like, I just can't.
Yes, they're all. That's why I have so many emails. I'm like, they're all highest priority. I don't know which one to read first. I can't possibly pick one.
Fair.
So
So I'm gonna ask you just to swallow that sensation and
okay.
Fine. You know what? Before we dive into the whole thing, one thing that I found helpful over the course of the last year is to have some sort of mental model for what makes a good pun. Right? Mm-hmm. What makes a bad pun? Because it's hard because the best puns are very bad, right? Because you went on stage a few years ago, maybe I'll prompt you this way, and you said that your goal when you post online was to elicit a reaction, and you wanted that reaction to either be anger or eye roll, right? You wanted to either get people upset, that's terrible, or just roll their eyes like Aaron and those reactions. So what makes a good pun?
I guess what makes a good pun? I don't know. I know when I see it.
Yeah. It's like pornography in that way.
Yes. I know when I see it. In this context though, my favorite ones are since I know I'm sending them to you and you're going to read them out loud, if I can give you a pun that you read out loud and it makes you mad, then I feel like I've done my job. Then I'm happy. I mean, I don't know about your listeners or whatever, but when it's if it makes you upset, then I think it's a good pun. That's the criteria, I think.
That's good. Well, you what's the the Dark Knight Rises, the Christopher Nolan Batman movie? He's I think Bane says to Batman or something, it's you came out of darkness or something, but I was born there. Aaron understands puns at such a deeper level. They're just part of your, tissue at this point. Whereas me, you literally taught me how to think of puns 9 years ago or something. And I still, I manually have to think, okay, I need to make a pun. So I got to start with the interesting wordplay, right? These two words don't go together or they go together in an interesting way, and then work backwards into a story that will pull them forward. That's one way to make a pun.
I guess that honestly that was another hard part about being your ghost host is that I can't there's no story for me to weave these things into. There's no context, and having the context helps the pun land. Yeah. So one of these, I was reading through this list of puns, and I'm like, man, these are great. That was my first thought is wow, I did a really great job. And I'm also upset with myself because I'm why am I giving you my best content? This stuff I should be I should be posting this online. These are so good. But then I noticed that one of these puns is very, very long.
Right.
And I think I was trying to well, I don't want to get into ranking it right now. I think this should be part of the ranking is like we'll read the puns. I'm gonna like try to go through my thought process why I think this one's a good one. Maybe I can give some context and I'll land better.
I think that's totally fair. That makes a ton of sense to me. And all I can say is that I like it not having too much context because reading that on air was so much fucking work. It's the 16th one. I see what you did there, but I don't encourage it. And these are your best puns, but that's why your contract is ironclad and why you make so much in residuals. Start doing dynamic ad insertion for dick pills and stuff so that you can get paid.
It's true.
That makes more than your your X revenue sharing from your what do they call it? They're not tweets anymore. They're
skeets.
Well, skeets are Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, yeah. Toots, skeets,
Toots was Mastodon. I guess posts. I don't know.
Posts.
Yeah. All right, let's roll. So
okay, I'm
gonna read these in the order of their current ranking, from bottom to top. So scroll into the bottom here.
So who's okay, hold on.
Sorry. Okay, I am going to tee you up to read.
Okay.
As you can see, I'm an experienced interviewer, and so sometimes the guest gets confused because I give them contradictory instructions and they don't know how to roll with it. So it's fine. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say this is the 26th ranked pun. It appeared on version 4 of Breaking Change.
And then I'm going to read it.
And then you're going to read it. That's right.
Okay.
That's right, my man.
And then are we changing the ranking now? We're just reading
right
now.
Bottom to top.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. It's like a high score list on an arcade cabinet. All right. Well, so I'm going to just repeat what I just fucking said. So this is the 26th ranked pun, which came from episode 4 of Breaking Change.
Okay. All right. Are you enjoying the Vision Pro? Are you enjoying the Vision Pro?
Nice. With the parenthetical instructions to make sure I read it right. The 25th pun came in version 2 of the podcast.
Oh my gosh. I am excited about Apple Vision Pro. I heard spatial computing will be out of this world.
So
that was a very spatial pun.
It was very special. If you were listening to Aaron talk about how he loves all of his puns equally, and that they're all the best, the fact he laughs at himself when he reads them, Aaron exhibits a certain amount of self-love and self-acceptance that I think we can all strive for. So I think that's very healthy. I'm not your therapist, but.
Boy, it's nice to read these because I'm like, wow, I am hilarious. I'm good at them.
All those viral tweets and stuff about oh yeah, you find some terrible code in the code base and you're like, who the fuck wrote that? And then you get blaming it to yourself and everyone's like, ah ha ha. It's very I read my own code from years ago. I was like, I am fucking brilliant.
Who wrote this? Who wrote this beautiful code? So good. Get blamed. Oh, that was me? Wow.
But then I tweet about it and no one ever has anything to say. The 24th ranked pun came from episode 11, version 11.
All right. I brought this type of feature up with a project manager back in the day, but they told me to just put a pin in it. Hold on. I brought this type of feature up with a project manager back in the day, but they told me to just put a pin in it. The hell was I thinking? I don't remember.
It was Apple Maps related. So it was a map related. This was probably
map related pun.
Version 11. I was probably just started giving you some context. I think I'm going to talk about this and this and this, and then you would get too tight to the context. After a week. So a few of these make no sense.
Yeah, I forgot about this. I would rework this as I don't know. I'd probably change this pun a little bit to include some sort of feature about Apple Maps so people have the context. Be like, I brought up, well, what would that be like? I don't know, something.
Well, it's too late now.
Yeah, I can't redo it. I can't redo it. Yeah.
Like request location permissions or something, maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
So we can't change it now, but like now that we have as you read these, you're realizing these puns got to stand alone for next year.
Yes.
All right. The 23rd ranked pun came recently in version 25.
Oh man, this one's fucking good, if I do say so myself. I hear many outlets in Japan aren't grounded. If you're not careful, you could get a culture shock.
You read that? It is really good. I got hung up on. I misunderstood what kind of outlet you were talking about. So, if it had said power outlets, this would be in the top 5. 22nd ranked pun came in version 14.
Yes. Yes, I'm powered by AI. Aaron intelligence.
Nailed it.
Yes,
it makes about as much sense as Apple intelligence, so I can't blame you.
That's true. I'm ready to rank these. Yes, okay.
Yes,
okay.
The 21st it came in version 18.
Oh, I don't want to read this. Okay, well, whatever. It's. I heard Bill Clinton builds his apps with SQL because he didn't have active record relations with that app.
You didn't want that on audio? AI is going to be trained on this. The 20th ranked came in version 13.
Okay. When Apple product engineers ask their developers for estimates, do you think they iPad their deadlines?
I won't get into the ranking, but I remember I downranked that one because you pad an estimate, you don't pad a deadline.
Oh my gosh. Stop. You gotta stop.
I'll save this for later. I'll save this shit for later.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. When we do the ranking,
this is going to be a 5-hour fucking...
There should be no judgment right now. We just got to get through these, and then our judgment is when we rank them. Yeah. Judgment-free zone here.
Yes.
Let's move on. All right.
Yeah, body autonomy and body neutrality this time. All right, so the 19th ranked is from version 24.
A lot of people are worried about their code getting too complex. And in Ruby, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of case when. That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. The 18th pun, 18th ranked pun came from version 23.
Justin kept asking me to make a Halloween-based pun. I guess he was afraid I might ghost him.
Yes.
Okay.
These are getting better. That's for sure. All right. The number 17 was version 15.
I recently traveled to Toronto for work. I refused to take a red eye, though, because I feel like they are a fly-by-night operation.
And this might be the only one where the ranking matched the episode order. So 16 was version 16.
Boy, this is the long one. Okay.
See how fun this is to read?
Back in the 90s, web standards were quickly evolving. I really wanted to get experience with cutting-edge technology, so I decided to do my best and try to participate. Back then, internet technology was still finding its feet, so most standards bodies were formed by theorists rather than practitioners. Anyway, I wanted to throw my hat in the ring, so I decided to join a steering committee for an alternative to HTML4. Unfortunately, I ended up quitting because, like most steering committees, it took a turn for the worse.
I thought of 4 comments while you were speaking, but I'm not going to say them. Instead, I'm going to say that the 15th ranked pun came from version 21 of the podcast.
Okay, this rank 15. I've never been in a hurricane, but I heard it blows.
Yeah, you just don't get them in Washington, but down in Florida, they really suck. Number 14 was from version 20.
I heard camera stores are always having a flash sale.
It's good. It's good. This one, it's all the way down at 13, but I've gotten so much positive feedback about it, and it came from version 7 of the show.
My feet really hurt from walking, so I've decided to switch to meters.
It's good. It's real good. Number 12, also a classic, came into version 5.
aren't progressive web apps just liberal media?
Love it. You had some bangers in the first dozen here. So number 11 was the third episode.
Okay. I wonder what tapas restaurants have to say about this EU App Store ruling. EU App Store ruling.
You do not get your own pun.
Oh my gosh.
Because tapas are like apps.
So they're apps, yes. That's so bad. Oh my god. I did a great job on that one. Wow.
I was pretty pissed. Hence the high ranking. So pronouncing that one is hard because when I say tapas, most people usually hear the word topless. So like the first time I took Becky to a tapas restaurant, it was in Ann Arbor where my folks live. And I said, "Oh, I'm taking Becky to a topless restaurant tonight." And she was like, "All right, bye, honey." And like literally thought I took her to a strip club, which was not my speed.
Mm-hmm.
Nor is, whatever. The 10th ranked pun is version 9.
Did you know that en garde is French? I learned that while studying on Duolingo.
Amazing. Dual is also hard to pronounce for me. So
Duolingo.
Dual.
Yes.
All right. The 9th was V12.
Seeing Billy Joel in concert tonight, and thankfully nobody started a fire. So this, okay. I'll explain it in the ranking. Let's move on. Yep.
Number 8 was version 17.
I'm in Singapore this week for Red Dot RubyConf. I have learned that many people here either love the King of Fruit or they're just enduring it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. 7, 20, version 26. That's the most recent one was ranked 7.
Okay. I once read a really great think piece on the business of recovering lost laptops. I found the article to be MacBook profound. Okay, because it's like MacBook Pro, and then they found it.
You know what?
Okay.
I didn't get that one at the time. I got it this time as you read it, and I was like, "Fuck! It's the found." I missed the lost and found. I was like, "This is not
lost and found." Yes.
Fuck me. I'm sorry. I jobbed you on that one.
All right.
The number 6 came in version 19.
Going camping with my family this week. It's intense.
Very nice. And number 5. Now we're down to the top 5. Woo! Number 5 came in version 8 of Breaking Change.
I loved playing AAA games as a kid, but replacing the batteries got really expensive. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. No comment. Number 4 came in version 10.
Writing an emulator seems like a lot of work if you just want to game the system.
And number 3 was the very first pun you wrote.
Breaking Change? Sorry, I don't carry cash.
Amazing. All right, number 2 came in version 6.
Oh, I like this one. I'm really glad Americans are finally embracing tap to pay. It was real touch and go there for a while.
And the currently ranked, although I wonder where it's going to end up. The current number 1 pun for 2024 came in version 22.
Did you know the ancient Aztec were really into Halloween? Apparently, they were famous for their corn maze.
Yes, very good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I like how it doesn't make sense if you don't know how maze is spelled or what maze is. And several people wrote in to share that with me. All right, I'm moving us over to the Punsort order tab, and so here we'll be able to see the original ranking as well as the post Punsort position. Now, I explained.
PPP?
Yeah. I explained the algorithm to the audience. You know, because I like most people, I'm just a dummy. I haven't really thought about algorithm design, how you describe it, for a long time, since college. How you used a special word in our pre-show about what kind of algorithm. Why don't you talk through this on a technical level so that for any technical people in the audience?
Sure. Okay, so we're going to be like, the way we're going to be doing this is we're going to be moving these rankings around. So I'll take a turn moving upon then Justin, and I'm gonna justify my ranking or my movement, and then we might argue about it. Justin's gonna move one, and we're gonna keep doing this over and over until the list doesn't move anymore. And this is called a fixed point algorithm, where you just keep repeating a particular computation until stuff stops changing. So once it stops changing, we know that we're done, and that is our fixed point. So that's what we're gonna do.
All right, let's just get into it. So Aaron, it's Punsort order time. I'm gonna scroll so like folks watching the video version can see me in numbers, and I'll try to keep up with you. Talk through what you're doing as you do it, and we can see the drag happen in real time.
Okay, well, it's really, really tough because, like I said, I feel all of them are top. All of them are number one. But actually, like, I'm gonna start at the bottom here. I really gotta start at the bottom. I'm moving number 20. What is this? 24 down to last. That one's got to go last.
Okay.
I like it the least of them.
I like how we've landed on consensus right off the bat. I agree. That is the worst.
Okay, because it says this pun is, I brought this type of feature up with a project manager back in the day, but they told me to just put a pin in it. And I love where it's going with maps, so I like where it's going. And if we were having a conversation, like if you and I were talking about Apple Maps or whatever, and like the development of Apple Maps, this would have landed and been fine and good, I think. But out of context, like, it makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense out of context. So, like, since it can't stand on its own, I gotta rank it last.
I think totally reasonable. No argument for me. Look at how quick this is all going to go. We're going to be done with this in 20 fucking minutes. That's wonderful. This is, people looking at the time on the bottom. Then we're going to spend the rest of the time just talking about our feelings, and our dreams for the future, and how to solve climate change. Because the puns are going to be the easy part of all of this. Well, all right, so it's my turn, and I was going to make the exact same move, actually. This is like playing Chinese checkers.
Yeah, I did the easy one first, yeah.
Can we still say Chinese checkers?
I don't know. Is it Chinese? I don't know.
It's Star of David checkers. Can I say that? All right.
Okay. No.
Also no. Well, you got me in the mood now to want to drag something to the bottom, but like honestly, a lot of these are good. I'm going to drag. No, I couldn't do it. I think I'm going to drag the 16th ranked pun from 16, where it currently sits, to be the new 26th spot, the second to last. So I'll read the pun as I make that movement. So it's going down to be our second to worst pun. And that is, I'm only going to read the whole thing once. Back in the 90s, web standards were quickly evolving. I wanted to get experience with cutting edge technology, so I decided to do my best and try to participate. Back then, internet technology was still finding its feet, so most standards bodies were formed by theorists rather than practitioners. Anyway, I wanted to throw my hat in the ring, so I decided to join a steering committee for an alternative to HTML4. Unfortunately, I ended up quitting because, like most steering committees, it took a turn for the worse. So, all right. So, the reason for this move, sort of like you essentially DQ'd the version 11 pun just now by saying like this pun doesn't fit the mold of all the other puns because it doesn't have the same format. It's not standalone. It requires context that like you don't have in the pun. This one I think is just a category error with all the other puns because it's so much longer.
No. Absolutely not.
I was hoping.
No. So like, okay. I get what you're saying, category error, but that's not why I ranked number 26 the last one. It's because of lacking context. This one is giving you plenty of context for the pun to land.
It's the opposite problem. So like this is too much. This is like
too much context.
Right. So like look, if you, again, just like what you said, if we were in person and you said this to me, I would be like, bravo, sir, because you just made me in my My brain, because I also listen intently to what you and very few other people say.
I just wasted your time.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. It's not what. Again, in person, you wasting the time. Excellent. What is great about this pun, again, out of the context of the show's format, is that it uses so many turns of phrase and words to which you could have attached a pun, but you chose not to attach a pun to any of those words. And as a result, like, the reason this is a good pun, like you know, out of context, as its own, as a standalone pun, is a very good pun, because like I see phrases like internet technology was still finding its feet. Whenever you hear a weird turn of phrase and you know it's going to be a pun, you're like, oh, it's going to be feet related, right? Theorists rather than practitioners, like that's it's true, but like the particular phrasing, I assume it's going to have something to do with that. Or I wanted to throw my hat in the ring, like that's a very visual metaphor, and so there's probably going to be something hat related. And then you go all the way to the steering committee, and now we're like 90% through the pun, and you actually end up reusing the term steering committee. Like the only way I would have improved this is use a different, like an alternative, not a homonym, a fucking the sort synonym. Jesus Christ. I use a synonym for steering committee the first reference, and then I would use steering committee at the very, very end, because this is a tantric pun. You're delaying the actual wordplay to the last responsible moment.
Well, so okay, but the point of this was to waste your time, like all puns. Yes. The point is to waste your time. So like I'm going for maximal time. And you almost here. Yes. So you're like, where is it coming? Is it going to make it? Is it going to be about feet?
Is that it?
Yes. Is that it? Is that it? No, it's steering committee. You had to wait until the end to find out.
Yes. All right.
I respectfully disagree with your ranking.
You're free to move it again. Like I'm just saying, like I would like the list, just like this. The last one doesn't fit the others. This one is not like the others. So that's.
So for
if this was TypeScript, this would be an error, right? We'd have different types in the array.
I don't think that that's the case. For me, there's like a spider graph, or one of those, what is that? You know, those web graphs or
word
whatever.
Cloud.
No, not a word cloud. It's like a radar graph. Like it looks like a radar, and you like rank all the stuff going out. And like one of the aspects here is about time, like wasting people's time. And this one I feel
scores very high.
Really, scores very, very high in the time wasting category. Also, like, you want to make sure, not only do I want to waste your time, but I also want to make you mad. So like the fact that you read through this entire thing and then the pun didn't come until the very end, I feel the scores, like objectively, the scores very well in that particular ranking. So like the fact that you're upset about it and want to rank it lower actually indicates to me that it's good.
Yep. That's we're rating on different criteria, and that's fine. So, but you're wrong. But it's fine.
So yes. So I think now, for me, I don't know. I really, really like this pun, but I don't actually know where I would put it in the ranking. Like I don't know, like how. Of course, it's one of my number one best puns, of course. But how number one? Like I'm not sure how number one it is.
Right.
I feel it's more number one than other ones in here, so I'm gonna choose something else. I'm gonna move below that one. That's what I'm gonna. That's gonna be.
There's a strategic element to this algorithm, which is that like if you move the one that I just moved again, as if to say "fuck you," no, it's over here. We'll just get into this sibling
back and
rivalry.
forth. Yeah, right. I don't want to do that.
You gotta wait. You gotta lull me into a moment. It's like, oh man, Justin looks tired. It's like you gotta rope-a-dope me.
So I'm doing what I'm going to do is like this one number 2024. Are you enjoying the Vision Pro? I'm moving that one below.
Yeah, I almost did.
Because I think that one's so like I said, all of them are number one, but I feel that this one is less number one.
Yeah. Some children are less favorite than others.
Yes.
Yes.
So I mean I like that. hey, are you enjoying the Vision Pro? Are you enjoying the Vision Pro? But it's too like
It was really hard to say on air and have
yeah.
people get.
So it's hard to say. It's hard to say. Also, it feels I hate being critical of myself, but it feels low effort basically. So like I also when I criticize myself, I think about like how much effort I put into this one. This one really feels like a you texted me and I tried to come up with this pun at like when I woke up at like 7 a.m. or some shit, and I couldn't think of anything good. So I don't like that one.
All right. Not that we should get totally. We don't have to always move stuff at the bottom, but I suspect that there is a certain amount of pun detritus at the bottom of the swimming pool here. And once we get that out of the way with like the 5 worst, this is going to be much more liberal.
Well, there's some in here that I really, really like, and they really, really need to go to the top. I think it's like a, I don't know, inverse
banding
bell curve, basically.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I won't say 2 standard deviations because it'll upset you because it's still the best pun.
It's the best pun. They're all above average.
What was that in the that show? Is it called Prairie Home Companion or something, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, not Lake Winnebago, Lake Wobegon. That was it.
Lake Wobegon, yeah.
Where all the kids are above average.
Yeah.
Did he get canceled? Did the show get canceled or did he get canceled?
He did, yes. He did
get canceled?
He did, yes. And then the show got canceled. I don't remember why.
Well, now I'm worried about the degree of interest he had in that community's children. They're all above average, right?
Yeah.
All right. So while we're getting kind of the shitty ones out of the way, the shitty best puns. Sorry, bud.
The worst of the best.
Yes. The original ranking was 22. It's currently sitting at 21. From version 14, yes, I'm powered by AI, error and intelligence. This one I'm going to rank just above the long one because it was very timely and it's easy to say and we all know the joke. But it's just low effort.
Yes. I'll agree with you there.
That's now the new 23rd ranked.
Okay, all right. My turn. I have one I want to move. I'm moving number 20, the Bill Clinton one, just because I don't like.
Sorry, what was the part of the quote in there that you didn't like? Can you say that quote again? That you didn't want to say.
Have active record relations with that app.
So you're laughing a lot for hating this best pun ever.
It's so dumb. It's so dumb, and like, not only that, but I feel like probably. Well, no. I was going to say like half your audience is too young to get this, but no young people listen to your podcast.
The reason people get this is not Bill Clinton related. It's because you used SQL. First of all,
yes.
Okay, so if you're a programmer adjacent and you know SQL is structured query language and is how you query databases, great. That's probably 20% of the audience. Well, maybe. Okay. Oh, let's say that's 50% of the audience. Then you need to know that programmers, when they verbalize it, pronounce it SQL.
SQL, yes.
And then you need to know. There's a Ruby gem called SQL, spelled like a movie sequel.
It's too hard.
And then you got to know it exists as an alternative to active record.
Yes, I feel like basically there's only going to be. I mean,
You knew I got
it. Of course. Yeah, I knew you got it. There's going to be like some people who will get it, but you probably have to read it and you have to have too much background to know, like too much context to know what the hell is going on. So I'm actually moving this one down below my 90s web standards one because I really like 90s web standard one. I think it's better.
Yep. I think that's fair. I mean, I'm not going to argue it. I think that the obscurity of this pun is a problem.
Yes.
It's not that you want people to enjoy your pun. It's that you want them to be mad for the right reason.
Yes, exactly.
Not like what the
like they're gonna hear. They're gonna hear it. They'll be like, I don't know. Was that a pun?
It was just a random sentence. You know?
Yes, it might have been. It might have been a pun. But the amount of information you need to know, because like I need to anger as many people as possible.
You want them to be mad or maybe tickled in some way, you don't want them to feel stupid.
Yes, or lost,
or like out of the joke. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, this is because I want to be basically inclusive.
Yeah,
and that it's too specific. It's not inclusive enough. So I downgrade that.
I like that it's not inclusive enough, and it's not because of the sexual reference. No, the sex stuff, that's cool. I mean, fine. Like this really arcane Ruby gem no one fucking remembers.
Yeah, but okay.
Well, I'm sorry if it's actively maintained, but like I haven't heard of anyone using sequel in a long time.
It is. But I mean,
shit.
In like the world of scandals, like let's say Bill Clinton happened in 2024, like right. would it even make the news? Like no.
Nope. No.
All right.
Okay. Well, these were all the ones I was thinking about.
Okay.
In fact, I think I probably, if it wasn't already at the 21 spot, the originally ranked 25th of I'm excited about Apple Vision Pro. I heard spatial computing would be out of this world.
I like it.
I'd like go and manually decrease the gain of all of your self-laughter here.
Mm-hmm. That's why we're recording in 24-bit audio. Yes. You get all
the real
my laughing
texture
lossless.
of the
yes.
of the cackle. That's I've actually a year of recording these things. And by the way, if you don't know why I do this podcast, it's so that I can train AI to replace me after my death, so Becky has someone to talk to. That's why I record it. I have found I actually enjoy the sound of my own voice much more than I thought, but I hate the sound of my own laughter. The only thing that like listening to the podcast that I would change is like, I can't laugh at myself so much because I like to laugh and I like to have fun, but like I have a shit laugh. At least as far as the mic picks it up. You've got a great laugh, so there you go.
Oh, thank you.
You're the one who taught me to laugh at myself on stage, and that people would enjoy that. But
some people don't. I've received that feedback. I don't like that you laugh at your own jokes, and I'll say I don't care.
And then you'll laugh at them. So anyway, all that to say, I will keep that pun exactly where it is because I think that this now rounds out like what is essentially the bottom six.
Wait, you're saying you're not going to make a move?
No. I was saying like as moves go, I am declaring from my perspective that the bottom of the best barrel is settled for me personally. I don't think we're going to have any others move below the 20 spot.
21? Okay.
So it really means we're basically now, this is a top 20 list.
Oh, nice.
From my perspective. Because the rules of the algorithm are such that we are both humans with agency, we can actually make an agreement to just let's keep
leave
things
it there.
To the top 20. Because we're going to have to focus ourselves as we go.
Okay. Still love my 90s web standards one. It's too good. Right. All right. Okay.
So now let's with my turn, I'm going to try to shift the mood a little bit and start moving some shit up. So I'm going to do an upward move. I love aren't progressive web apps just liberal media. I think it's so good because hopefully Android users know what progressive web apps are because they've had to suffer in silence with like no apps. And so like Google making shitty websites where the buttons aren't actually buttons was like the most Android ass thing that could have happened 10 years ago. And then Apple going out of their way to make them shitty on the iPhone so that you still want to and need to install real apps was a tech curiosity, right? The reason that this joke is so funny isn't just the play of words of like the word progressive and liberal as being having a political valence. The reason I think it's so funny is that you landed this pun right in the middle of the like peak EU Digital Markets Act a news cycle.
Yes.
And right probably before the US Department of Justice sued Apple for being like anti-competitive in their behavior. And progressive web apps were one of the things mentioned in both of those. so it was a material thing about the time. And there, like, you can't have that. You can't have governments in multiple continents arguing about this shit on both sides and have it not be political. So like, it was both timely, it was political, and it's just, look at the economy of words here. This is a 7 word pun, right?
Yep.
And I'm just like, this is master class, and it's got to be the top 5 for me. I say that. I think I would probably, now of course I can't just like move 8 other things out of the way to make all this make sense. But I would probably say it's definitely the top 5. So I'm going to move it to be the new 8th pun.
That makes senend. Sure. Yes. Top 5, so we should move this to number 8. Yeah, okay.
Dude, you're playing checkers, I'm playing chess. I'm gaming out your next moves, and it'll end. No, I think as I was reading above, the ones above it, right? Like, going camping with my family this week, it's intense.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to move it above that one. So this will be the new 7th. But like,
oh yeah, for sure, it's better than that one.
But I loved playing AAA games as a kid, but replacing the batteries got real expensive. Like, I laugh every time I load the fucking webpage of this pun list. So okay, that's my turn. It's your call.
Okay, I agree. I agree with you. I like that. I like that pun a lot. It's very good. It's very good. Also, like, progressive web apps just suck. It's just not good. Okay. Dual lingo. What did I want to move? Oh yeah, I'm gonna move. So ranked number 21, number 20 ranked pun with currently number 20. I hear many outlets in Japan aren't grounded. If you're not careful, you could get a culture shock. This is probably one of my favorite in this list because
and it's very low right now.
It's true. So many outlets, like outlets in Japan, they don't have a ground plug thing. And if you're not careful, you could get a shock, a culture shock.
Right.
Because you're in Japan.
Right.
You get shocked.
Right.
So I got to move this one. I don't think
and by popular acclaim, I mean, I think the public agrees. So, and I agree too. I think it is better. I just was fussy about the fact that you didn't say power outlet.
I don't think it's my number 1 of the best. I don't think it's the top best, but I'm putting it at number 2. I do think it's like it's number way 2. Up there. So yeah,
of all of your children, this one gets to go to private school, but like 5 and below, you're sorry.
Yeah, that one's really one of my favorites. It's very good.
All right. Okay. Well, so that one. Now, what's cool is in the spreadsheet, if you're looking, you can see its Punsort ranking is currently 2, and its original ranking is 23. So I almost feel like there's some secondary analysis here of like which pun was the biggest mover when we do Breaking Change Wrapped at the end of the year with your animated. All right, yeah, I'm not going to argue with that one right now because I took enough shit for giving that such a bad rating. Sticking in the top 20, let's look at some of this. The 10 to 20 shit.
I gotta say though, like compared to that one, there's like a lot of, I don't know, mid-grade puns in here. Not as good.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull. Oh shoot! You know the iPad their deadlines one is already 20th. I was going to make sure that was the bottom of whatever's left, and it's already there, so I can't do that one.
Wait, what did you not like about that? Well, when Apple product engineers ask their developers for estimates, do you think they iPad their deadlines?
I told you.
Okay, iPad their estimates. Oh, come on.
Sorry, man. You got to commit to the bit. We're
Okay, you're right. If I had said estimates instead of deadlines, it should be ranked higher.
And that's why the power outlets things, because like a pun is wordplay. So it's like when it comes to the wording, it's not like horseshoes.
Okay, when I say outlets, though, what did you think? What did you think I was talking about?
So when I hear many outlets in Japan, I was thinking where my brain went was like Mainichi and Bloomberg News, like news outlets.
News.
Yeah, like outlets, like TV stations and like Hitere.
I don't think most people would think news outlets.
Well, the people who listen to this program are not most people.
That's true.
Did you hear that, advertisers? Because if you want some highly targeted advertisements, you come on Breaking Change, and then we'll all buy your product and then give very honest reviews about why it sucks and 1 star it to oblivion.
And then every year we'll go through and product rank them.
Yes, and talk. It's like those S tier ranks. There's a reason we're doing an order and not the what's popular right now with the S and A and B and C tiers. Because like I would spend this whole time with you just being like everything is F, and you'd be like everything is S.
S, yeah.
We'd settle.
All right, whose turn is it? I forgot.
It's my turn.
Okay.
I'm gonna move the hurricane one down to the 19 spot. It's currently at 16. It was originally 15. I've never been in a hurricane, but I heard it blows. It's just, look, it's not bad, but it's like that could have been on a Laffy Taffy, right? That could have been on a popsicle stick.
Sure. Yeah.
It doesn't have that air, the je ne sais quoi of a tender love.
Oh my goodness. Maybe that's what I should do in retirement. Write puns for popsicle sticks. Be awesome.
It's a growth market, bud.
Okay. Where was it? There was one in here I really liked. Oh, Corn Maze is so good. That one, I'm going to leave that at number 1 for now. Let's see.
This is going to take less than 4 hours. I think we're actually like being relatively reasonable.
Apple Vision Pro, a lot of people. I like the Case When one too. I think I'm going to move this one. So I don't know. Okay, so we have current number 18 is a lot of people are worried about their code getting too complex, and in Ruby it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of case when. I really enjoy this pun, but I'm also worried it's like somewhat specific.
Yeah.
Because like you need to be a Ruby programmer to get it, but it's still like good. And you could have rewritten it as a like this could work in other programming languages too. So I think it's specific, but I don't think it's so specific that it warrants a number 18 ranking.
You got to find something to push it out of the way, though.
Oh yeah, that's easy. Like it's way better than. No, I like that one. I like that one. I like that one. I think it's better than camping than the intense one.
Oh man, that's Becky's favorite. I think she laughed her ass off at that. She was on a walk or a run when she listened to that episode, and then she did one of those dingus messages with her AirPods to be just like I just like keeled over laughing out loud at the intense fun.
I mean, you could still move it. I'm just saying. I mean,
I'm just telling you how people feel. So you moved it all the way up. It was originally at 19, all the way up to 8.
Yep.
Damn, son. Like I felt like that one belongs in the 15 to 20 spot.
Actually, you know what? No, I gotta move it. I guess can I still move it?
Yeah, you can command.
I'm gonna move it. I'm actually gonna go. Okay, it's got to go down to number 10 because the like MacBook Pro found. Okay, so the one above it is. I once read a really great think piece on the business of recovering lost laptops. I found the article to be MacBook Pro found.
Yeah.
That's way better than the Ruby case.
Now that I know now that I get the joke. This is I'm proud of myself. That's the only joke I just biffed like the whole year. But I see it now, and I'm proud that I caught it upon rereading.
That's wild though, because right now, like the original ranking is 7, and it's currently at 9.
I think so. There's a couple. Okay, so this is a little bit of behind the magic for our listeners. Aaron and I are very, very good friends. we know about each other's personal lives. There are like, not a lot of things that we wouldn't say on air because we're attention whores, but which I can say because I'm unemployed. But and as a result, I know when Aaron's having a bad week, when he just needs a win. So there's a couple of these that I goosed the ranking.
What?
Because I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want Aaron to hear that, like, this week's pun was terrible or whatever. So
you gave it a better, like,
yes.
Oh my gosh.
I juiced it. There was one where I gave you the best. I gave you the number one ranking, even though I don't think it was number one. Like, I was like, I gave you the benefit of the doubt between, and it turned out to be the number one. And you replied with like, yes, and you were really happy. And you just shared some really tough news with me. Like,
was it the Aztec pun?
No, it wasn't.
Okay,
that one.
all right.
It might have been. I don't know.
Because the Aztec one is like, it's good. It's genuinely good. Like, I'm pretty sure I texted you. I was like,
this one's good.
This one's gonna make you mad.
I don't think it was.
Like
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it was.
All right.
I'm not gonna tell you which one. But I will tell the listeners what the personal news was, because while we're no, I'm just kidding. Look, I will get behind that the case when pun is better than the durian pun, but like I like 4 of these more in the middle here. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to move the durian one down. I'm going to say, look, I think it's just tortured, bud. Like, a few things stand out. One is you call out Red Dot RubyConf, which is a thing that it is a real event, and for people in Singapore, it is a wonderful event. I don't think I've been to a different event by the same folks that organize it. The great people. Singapore is a really interesting place, yada yada. Although I will say, the one time I did speak in Singapore, they had to review my slides, and they said, we got to check if there's anything OB. And I was like, excuse me? And they said, oh, out of bounds. Like, okay, excuse me? And they're like, oh, like anything that you say that the state wouldn't want you to say. And I was like, excuse me? And because I was already in the country and I'm a piece of shit, I was like, no. And then they said, oh, no, you're going to do this. It's like, all right.
No pro chewing gum propaganda in your slides.
Yep. Maybe they checked my tweets before I landed. I have not been back to Singapore, and after saying this in public, maybe I won't be. I promise not to go out of bounds. All right, but anyway, apart from that, so I think the Red Dot RubyConf reference is just too specific. I think I did not know that the durian is called the king of fruit, so I think that's too obscure. And then enduring and endurian is too big of a leap. It's just like I realize there's no word in English that rhymes with orange or July or probably durian, but like
endurian.
It's
enduring it.
It feels like a stretch. So those 3 factors make me want to say this is going to be. I'm going to drag it downwards. Using a trackpad for this was wise.
I'll give it to you that the references are too specific. Like maybe Red Dot RubyConf is too specific, but like if you don't have the Singapore context, then Endurian isn't going to make sense.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I'm arguing with myself whether it's above or below. Justin kept asking for a Halloween-based pun. I guess I was afraid I might ghost him. I'm going to rank this. I'm screen recording, and I just got yet another notification that you have invited me to collaborate in my own file.
My hands are off the keyboard, dude. I haven't done anything.
I'm going to put this below the Ghost Him one.
Okay.
The only reason is that the Ghost Him one I like because it betrays the conceit of this entire operation that I have to ask you for puns. And that normally in normal context, you could never to ghost somebody for a pun doesn't make sense, but it tells the listener that like this is an asynchronous operation where it's like if you don't reply with pun, I literally can't record, which I think is funny. And there've been times where like Becky's like, you should record today because I'm going to the gym or we've got plans tomorrow. I'm like, sorry, baby, I don't have a pun. And the rules of the game are unflinchingly rigid. And she's like, you make up the rules. You can change the rules. And I'm like, yeah, but then I wouldn't even want to do it anymore. All right.
Okay, I agree. I agree with you moving that one down. That's fine. I'm not mad about that. Oh gosh.
It's a murderer's row from here on out, bud. Like
this is hard. I really like the fly by night. I refuse to take a red eye because it's a fly by night operation.
I could hear that one in like legit like a late night monologue. You know, like I could see Kimmel deliver that.
I got to move that one up. It's better than okay. Now you know. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Ruby code being too complex, but fly by night operation is better. It's gonna go up to 10.
It might be higher than 10, bud.
I mean, you're free to move it.
I'm just saying. Hey, that was a suggestion.
Let's look. It's better than it's profound. I don't think it's okay. Actually, yeah, I think it's better than the MacBook Profound because MacBook Profound is like you got to think too much about that one. Fly by night. It's going up a little bit. Going camping this week, it's intense. Breaking change. I don't carry cash. Okay. All right, I'm done. Your turn.
Just because I keep taking too long on my turns, I'm going to say I'm just going to move the current number 8, originally number 6, going camping with my family this week. It's intense. I'm just going to move that down 1 and say that the fly by night pun that you just moved is better. Edges it out.
Okay. I agree with that. All right. I'm going to move. Boy. Breaking change. Sorry, I don't carry cat. I was going to move that one, but I like it.
So good. Now I genuinely agree with you that we're like, these are all the best pun. So we got a problem.
Oh. Let's see. Billy Joel, Nobody Started a Fire. That was good. Tapas, EU App Store ruling. Yeah, this was all around that time. Okay, so this one was also around the time. The pun is, I wonder what tapas restaurants have to say about the EU App Store ruling. Because tapas are apps.
But the liberal media pun from the other episode about this was so much better.
Oh yeah, it's way better. So I like this one, but I don't like. Okay, let me tell you what I don't like about this pun. So, of course, when you go to tapas restaurants, it's all like appetizers, basically, just all small share plates. But like, you need to know that to make the connection with EU App Store.
Right.
Like it doesn't. It's too.
And you need to know that people abbreviate appetizer to app.
App, yes.
Which is like a jokey thing and a thing that Applebee's did in some commercials.
Yes. So I'm actually gonna have to pull this one's rank down.
Yeah.
Because I feel it's not as good as the. It's just definitely not as good.
No, it's not as good as the several below it.
Let's see, flash sale, Halloween based pun.
This one drops, bud.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to move this. I'm gonna move this one to rank 17. I think I like ghost. I like the ghosting pun better.
Yep.
Actually, I'm gonna have to even move this below the Singapore pun.
Damn. I think it hangs above the Singapore pun, but it's your turn. So.
Really? I don't know. I think it's even worse than the hurricane pun. Yeah, I'm gonna move it below the hurricane. Boy, I'm really sorry. It's got to go to 19.
Yeah, once you decide that a pun is too obscure to be understandable, once it flips that bit in my head, it's like it's not a pun anymore. It may as well, So I hear you.
Yeah, I mean this could just be a sentence that doesn't make sense. Is the problem?
Like the bottom 5 are like these are real lazy or impossible to understand, and then it's already shaken out that 17 through 20 are ones that are arguably not comprehensible, right?
Yeah.
So there's the I've been interested to find if this was a sedimentary rock when we're done, what are the striations? The bottom one, the fossils at the bottom are just these are just bad. And then there's going to be some sorry, trigger warning. These are poorly executed.
If that's how we're ranking it, I gotta rethink.
You're an imperfect messenger. The pun was blameless. Don't worry. No puns were harmed. But then the next few here are just ones where they might make some people feel dumb. They're good puns, but they make some people feel dumb, and we don't want that because this is an inclusive program.
Yeah. Well, plus it doesn't like land. It's got to land.
Right. It's got to land.
Okay.
All right. So that one was another one I wanted to move. I'll be honest, while I'm looking at ones that I think need to go down a little bit, currently it's at 13. Originally it was at 10. Did you know that en garde is French? I learned that while studying on Duolingo. All right.
Because it's lingo for dueling. And you also are learning a second language. Like
my
duel?
problem. Yes. All right. There's 2 jokes I didn't get. Fuck. All right, this is the second part. Oh, all right, I never got the lingo, and basically, okay, several comments all of a sudden. All right, I will no longer move this down because I did not get the that en garde was lingo in this sense, and now that I do, there's a whole nother dimension to this thing.
Yes.
Fuck.
Yes. This one has many layers.
Yes. It's really important that we don't. This is why it's important I never see the pun before I read it. Because if I was texting with you and you gave me a pun, then we'd workshop it, or you'd explain the joke to me. The fact I don't makes this all so
yeah,
much
I mean,
more
I think this one should go up. Like it.
Yeah,
to me,
no,
this one's...
I do too. Now I do for sure. Like for example, right above it, seeing Billy Joel in concert tonight and thinking
not as good.
Not as good.
No.
It's simple. It's one dimensional.
Yes.
So yeah, this one's good. The reason I hated this one is it's got 2 hard to pronounce on air aspects. I have to code switch into a fake French accent to say en garde and with an exclamation point in the middle of the first sentence, and then I gotta like force out of my lip holes dual lingo and not sound like dual, like 2 lingos.
I mean, it's true.
That's the only downside.
The point you're making, I think the point that you're trying to make is that some puns land better in text than they do on air. Like this one, I think this one would make a banger toot or skeet or whatever. Like not as good. It's not because like you read it and the jokes they're like all their text based, whatever. But when you say it out loud, it may not make as much sense.
All right. Where does it go? I think this is better now that I'm committed to moving this one in particular, even though it's not for the reason at all that I originally
I think
wanted.
it could be 10 at least, top 10.
Yeah, right. I mean, like this is better. The camping intense is just one dimensional. It's just very good. It's better than Profound. It's better than Case When. It's better than Billy Joel. I hope that we're repeating these puns enough for people who are listening to the audio version of this audio program to understand what the fuck's going on. I think I am not going to be the one to put Progressive Web Apps, which is a top 5 pun and currently ranked 7. I'm not going to make that one go lower. So I'm saying that this is the new number 8. Did you know that en garde is French? I learned that while studying on Duolingo.
Yeah, I like that.
Your turn.
Okay. I agree with that. Boy, moving the top ones around is very, very difficult. Let's see. What am I gonna do? Camera stores are having a flash sale. I don't want to move that. I like it. Actually, I'm moving the Billy Joel one down. Yep. So seeing Billy Joel in concert, the pun is seeing Billy Joel in concert tonight, and thankfully nobody started a fire. I texted you that from
I
a
know.
Billy Joel concert. Like, I was at the Billy Joel concert, and that is why I texted you this one. A lot of these, for your audience out there, a lot of these come from my day-to-day life. My personal experience.
I learned the other day that sometimes comedians will say a bit and it's not a true story.
What?
That's why you should cancel Louis C.K., he said.
Okay.
Sarcastically.
I'm gonna move this down, but I'm trying to tell what it's worse than. It's worse than camera stores having flash sales.
For sure.
Worse than ghosting Justin. Singapore Durian. I'm gonna move it there. Above, I'm gonna move it to rank number 16. I think it's worse than the Halloween-based pun.
Yep.
I think it's better than the durian pun. Yes.
I'm loving this because it seems like, you and I have, obviously we have similar sense of humor because we joke all the time, but like, I don't think necessarily we're wired the same way when it comes to puns. And the fact that we're agreeing so much gives me hope that there is such a thing as an objectively good pun. Like that these are, because that's like, I've been struggling with this all year. Is like, am I just throwing darts at a fucking wall? And like, am I just, is this a mood ring? Am I projecting my feelings for the day based on how I'm ranking these things? Because it's felt arbitrary, but not today. Like now that we have a chance to look at all these, it seems there's something objective happening. I'm nostalgic for the first one because you used breaking change in it, and it was like, it was a banger, but it's not the fourth best pun in this list.
It was your inaugural pun.
I don't think it hangs. I think, like, for example, Fly By Night is better. Now that I know what the Duolingo joke is, that's better. Currently, those are 8 and 9. It's not as good as Camping Intense. So I'm pulling this down to the new 10 spot. Or, excuse me, it's now the 9 spot.
Okay. In that case, since we're attacking the top of the list here, we have at number 4, currently ranked at number 4, writing an emulator seems like a lot of work if you just want to game the system.
So good.
I was going to move it down, but now that I reread it, I really like it.
It's just so funny.
If you just want to game the system. Okay. Boy. I think we moved this one already, but I'm doing it again. I'm moving On Guard above liberal media. I learned that yes, it's better. Did you know that On Guard is French? I learned that while studying on Duolingo. I think that's better than the progressive web apps or just liberal media joke.
Yeah, I just couldn't emotionally drop that one lower than 7. But now that it's 7 again, it's fine. Because it's a top 5 pun. So
it's a top 5 pun.
Yep.
Ranked at number 7. Yeah, can't go lower than 7 because it's a top 5.
Duh. I mean, is this your first time here?
It's always Friday somewhere. Know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Happy Friday to those who celebrate.
Yeah. All right. What's next?
Well, while we're attacking the top, look, man, I know you like the corn maze one, but it's got a lot of the problems that we've been talking about here. It's got it's got a word that is literally a homonym for the word it's punning, right? Mm-hmm. So maze and maze. Yes. There might be a way to pronounce maze that doesn't sound like maze, but it's not coming out of this.
Yeah. This voice box. Okay. Yes. This is definitely a text-based banger, but maybe not as good. Right. In audio.
Additionally, I'll give some credit to this one though. So like the Aztecs did play games that were like life or death games ritualistically at major events. That's a thing that I remember from high school social studies, and if that turns out to not be true, you can blame Mrs. Budnick for that and go fuck yourselves. So I get that. That's really funny to me. And then that they were famous for the corn maze. Because again, we have 2 Halloween-based puns. Mm-hmm. And this one, I've joked on the podcast before that we should score these puns similar to how we do gymnastic routines at the Olympics, where you get a difficulty score and then an execution score. Because this is a high difficulty score and a like slightly lower execution score, simply because the homonym means that it's not audio friendly. So I think it's still high, but I almost all of the next 9 are all very well executed and difficult. The only one that is not difficult, it's so not difficult, it's so simple that it's like bordering on Laffy Taffy like levels, is the going camping with my family this week. It's intense. Like that's a popsicle stick pun.
Oh, for sure. And I find that in a bazooka gum. Yeah, for sure.
So I'm going to put it above the previously number 1 pun from version 22 is now at number 9. Did you know the ancient Aztec were really into Halloween? Apparently they were famous for their corn maze. Is the new number 9.
I still love that.
Your laughter does not move me.
Boy, I like all these top 10. They're so good. Okay, let's see. What have I not changed yet? Camera source, flash sales, ghost him, Billy Joel. I don't. Honestly, I don't think I'd move. I can't see any more that I would move.
Any?
I'm trying to think. Like,
think of one that you want to be higher.
Well, I mean, number 23. It's so good.
Unfortunately, we verbally agreed to leave that one there. Right?
But it's so good. Let's see. Like, okay, it's better than the iPad their deadlines one.
But we've agreed, if you want to skeet this onto Blue Sky later as just a standalone, that's your business. But if you want to go back on that, then
it's too many words for a skeet, I think.
It's too many words for a podcast, bro.
Wait, excuse, too many words for a
3-hour-long
podcast
can
only
only
podcast.
fit so much. I have other segments that are also stupid.
Let's see. My feet really hurt from walking, so I've decided to switch to meters. That's good too. Yeah, I'm gonna pull that one up a little bit.
Yeah. I was gonna move that one up too.
But it's not going. I'm making it number 11. I think.
Whoa, you think tense is better?
Yep, I do.
I was gonna if it had been me, I would have moved it right above tense. Because I think my feet really hurt from walking, so I've decided to switch to meters. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me, but like that construction feels like, again, like a joke I'd hear in a comedy show, like in a monologue. The going camping with my family this week, it's intense, is like a corny dad joke, right? So like,
okay, yeah, I buy that.
Will you change your move?
Yes, I will move. I will move it up one, but I feel bad now. Becky's gonna be upset.
Are you allowed to be swayed by me to change your move? I guess you've swayed me a couple times, sure. The algorithm's a very simple 3-step algorithm. We take turns, so we change the ranking from whatever to whatever, and then we.
I mean, I feel like the only reason I'm here is to justify why any of these puns are better than the other ones, right? Because like if it was just you, the ranking would have just stayed as is, basically.
Nah, I had some changes, but like, I mean, literally, you told me 2 of the jokes this time, and I just didn't get them right. So this is you serve an educational benefit for sure.
So I feel like it can go both ways here. Like we're not here like
to punish puns.
Yes, we're here ranking the puns, but we're also trying to improve our craft. Right?
Yes.
So we're trying to figure out like what makes some of these puns work, what makes other ones not work, how can we improve this particular segment for your listeners, really.
Right.
Yeah,
Because we want to put out a quality product at the end of the day.
exactly.
So season 2 of Break and Change, it's going to be all bangers.
A quality 3 to 4 to 5 hour long podcast.
I think my record so far is 3 hours and 24 minutes.
All right, what's next?
I was a raspy. Oh man, that's we're getting goddamn close. I will say, currently sitting at number 1. I hear many outlets in Japan aren't grounded. If you're not careful, you can get a culture shock. Mike McQuaid, who's the maintainer of Homebrew, he texts me. Some of my friends will live text me like as they're listening to the podcast, and he listens to me at 2x, and I always assume he's doing some crazy CrossFit routine or something. Sorry, I shouldn't say crazy. I should say wild. That's what everyone says.
CrossFit. So he's mad while he's working out.
Yes, and he was like, "That's number 1." Like that. Like, what did you just do?
I agree.
Yes. So I want to give space for Mike in that. As I move it down. So I'm gonna move this one.
What? Okay.
It's not the best. I would be upset if this was like, and I am upset because I'm reading all these stupid fucking puns. So I will be upset regardless. But I don't think this is the number 1. I wouldn't give this one a trophy. I would. Honestly, the one that's sitting at number 2, I'm really glad Americans are finally embracing tap to pay. It was a real touch and go there for a while. I'm not sure that's number 2. I would probably move both of these down.
Oh my god, you're so wrong.
Well,
Okay.
this is where the going gets tough. We don't have a lot of movement. My 2 favorites are probably writing an emulator seems like a lot of work if you just want to game the system. Because that one has layers, dude. Like that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I love that. I just say any are good, and you're like, oh yeah, that's true. It was really good. It's like how I can bait you. I loved playing AAA games as a kid, but replacing the batteries got real expensive. So good. Like, are you saying no? It's not good.
It's good, but it's not as good as not as good as top 2. Like
I hear you. I can get behind that. I just want to point out, because I held my breath when you read this the first time, that I recently watched a YouTube.com video about how much better the Game Boy was than the Game Gear at AA battery usage. Like the Sega Game Gear could go maybe 3 hours on 6 AA's.
I don't think it even went that long. No.
And a Game Boy with 4 AA's you could use for weeks.
Yes.
And then they did, at the end of the video, they did inflation adjusted cost per hour to use this device. Given what was the market rate for AA's before Amazon and all that, because we just had Energize and Duracell and maybe like Raycell or whatever. And it was like it was dollars per hour to use it, like not a small number of dollars. So that I just watched that video when you did this one, and I was like, oh man, that's brilliant. So I'm going to move outlets below the emulator one and leave you to it. So I'm moving it from, it was 23. It's already gone up 20. I don't want it to get too uppity.
Sure.
I'm thinking that it's like number 1 territory. That would be a real rags to riches story. But.
Yeah. I'm okay with any of these as top 3. It's fine. Love playing AAA games as a kid. Yes, that is good. On Guard. Man. MacBook Profound.
I think I know what you're going to do with this.
Yeah. I want to move MacBook Profound down, but I want to move that one down too. Let's think.
I want to move all of them from 12 to 25 down by 1.
Basically, yes. And then I think I'm moving. Okay, so I'm moving camera stores and flash sale up,
Okay.
but I'm just moving it to below intense.
Nice.
So like,
So that's the new 12th ranked.
yeah, it's the new 12th ranked. I heard camera stores are always having a flash sale. I like it. It's simple, clean, straightforward.
And clever, right? Like you don't
Yes.
hear that before. Like
Yes. They sell flashes. They have sales on flashes. Yes. And they have a flash sale.
I like it because not only is it novel, like I would believe you are the first person to make that joke.
Maybe.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just it unlike the pun where you have to wait, the tantric pun style of waiting to the very, very end to reveal
Instant gratification. Yes.
This sells the third word, camera store. A camera, yeah, there are camera stores, and of course, like Aaron and I, we travel to Japan a lot, and Bic Camera is, and camera stores generally sort of also kind of became electronic stores. So Bic Camera sells everything, like appliances and everything like that. So a camera store really does sell everything, and I would suspect that most Americans are not familiar with very many camera stores. They've maybe never seen a store that was just a camera store, right?
Probably not. Yeah. I mean, it's not very common.
So the idea of a camera store is like kind of funny
Mm-hmm.
on its own. Anyway,
But then they have flash sales.
So anyway, all that to say, like I think that's a great move. I'm going back down to the 10 to 20 range here, since I'm contractually obligated not to look below 20 per our détente. Because I would have moved the Bill Clinton one higher, to be honest, because it's sexy.
No.
The Tapas one has the problems it has. I wish it was better. The Hurricane Blows is just too lazy, and yeah, this is good, man. I don't know why the Ruby if and case when one doesn't click with me. Maybe it's because it's harder to say out loud if you're not looking at it. I would move that down one maybe to the go, but
I like the pun, but it's too specific. Like it's a programming language specific. It's good.
I don't listen
It'd be
to
great
programming. Yes, on a slide.
On a slide, at a conference, as a toot, be fine.
My problem with it is that I don't listen to technology podcasts or programmer podcasts, I should say, because I don't want to ever have to listen to somebody talking out code. You know, like my brain doesn't work that way. I'm very visual when it comes to code, and so whenever anyone's talking through keywords or whatever, like especially in my early career, it was like very difficult for me to follow, and I'd feel really dumb all the time. And because not making people feel dumb is important to me, and because it's hard to pronounce, I think I will move this one down, actually.
Sure.
I'll say,
instead of reversing a linked list on a whiteboard, we need you to say it out loud.
that contemporaneous. That's an extemporaneous pun. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna move this. How much do I think the hurricane joke is lazy? Is what this comes down to. I will. Okay, if I had not laughed when I read the hurricane one, then I would rank this pun about Case Win above it. But I did laugh with the hurricane pun, and I'm going to drop it. Final answer, the new 18th ranked. A lot of people are worried about the code getting too complex, and in Ruby, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of case when.
Sorry.
I have another reason. Sorry to interrupt you.
Okay, yes.
Because we're not going to fix this in post. Just FYI. Another reason is I think I could probably, if I thought about it really hard, I could make a case for this. Not a case when, but a case. When it comes to code complexity, I am unsure that I feel like the connection between code complexity and the choice to use if versus case when is too tenuous. Mm-hmm. There are cases with case when that are more complex than if, and vice versa. Like it's not a
So
directional relationship.
you have to recall, like, at the time, so the time I made this pun, there was actually an issue on standard about using case one statements, and you were like, can you please take a look at this? And I was like, and somebody was arguing.
Okay.
I think somebody was arguing that it was
that
like,
case when is too hard.
Yes.
Yes, that was okay. That was the issue, and it was literally somebody like making. So if you don't know what we're referring to, I created and helped maintain a Ruby library called Standard Ruby, and it's basically it sets all the rules for how to format your code. And there's a lot of people will complain about the rules that are selected because the whole point of Standard is you can't configure them. I get to pick, or I got to pick initially, and then we argued them out, similar to the Punsort algorithm. The thing about it is a lot of people will make it's sort of like if you're familiar with the logical fallacies, like a no true Scotsman argument. When you're arguing about code style and code formatting decisions that you're going to like lock in how code has to be, there's a category of argument that is wrong, and that a lot of men who should have gone into IT support or been accountants, sorry, like they will make this argument, and the argument goes something like, other people are dumb and not to be trusted. And so they're too stupid for other programmers to be able to do this thing. And it was like one of those. I believe I just said that strictly because it's a tangent. I don't think that I had a connection to the pun per se, but I do remember it. And now that you've brought the issue to my attention, like I have a lot more respect for this pun, but it's staying where it is, man.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's because like that's the other thing is like there's a lot of context when I'm making these puns. There's a lot of context surrounding them.
Only you and I have.
Yes, and that was a particular there was some particular context with this one. It was like that issue on Standard made me think of this joke.
And that's why I wanted to talk through the situation as well once you raised it, because like this is not about putting puns down. This is a celebration of life.
So. And I think the hurricane one, I'm really sorry, but I think that was when you were like evacuating.
Yes. You texted it and I was like, I believe I was packing up the patio furniture with Becky and like picking up like you might have sent it while I was like lifting the table from my patio into the house. So perfectly timed.
There you go. Yes,
and
there you go.
Blew.
That was and it exactly. Yes. So I figured like since it's going to be like I was trying to sell to you. I was like, well, I know it's in a not good situation. Justin's not having a good time. It probably blows.
And it's invisible ink, so he's not going to read it until the next time he has a working microphone. So there you go.
Okay. Let's see. We're
getting so close.
Yeah, I'm going to do... So, like... Start a fire... Hurricane... Okay, I'm pulling the Singapore one down. Pulling it down there to 18. So we had Hurricane below that one. I'm moving it above. So like I think the Hurricane one, I like it because it's short, to the point. You can get it quickly. It's dumb. It wasted. You feel like your time was wasted, and there's not much background you need to know. Like I was able to waste your time without much context, right?
Right.
So like I could say this to a stranger on the street, and they would be mad. Whereas
Right.
like the if I were to go up to a stranger and tell them this one about like enduring it, they're not going to get mad
at this specific regional conference.
Yes, they're not gonna get it. They're just gonna think that I am like weird. They won't be upset about it. So that's why I would rank it higher. And then the case when one, I just think that it has a lot more layers, and I'd say that pun really branches out.
Oh, that's another extemporaneous pun. I should have had a stinger for. Like on my summer.
So I think that one's better.
That's good.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. All right.
Yeah, I think that's total. So I made a mistake early on in my pun ranking career. That because I know you're all about wasting people's time.
Yeah.
One can look at what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 10 words. One can look at a 10-word pun and think, oh, it's only 10 words. You're not wasting enough time.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about it is, it's not just how much time is wasted. There's two other factors you got to consider. One, upon hearing the pun, is it going to rattle around in that person's head?
Yes.
Well, if it's a word like hurricane that you only hear a few times a year, but you hear it reliably, it's like, oh man, like that might come back, and then boom, that's bonus time wasted.
Yes, exactly.
A year from now, right?
Yeah.
So,
You're gonna be watching the news. You're gonna see this hurricane thing and be like, fuck.
Expect gusts of 100 miles an hour winds. Like, oh yeah,
yes,
blows.
yes.
The wind is blowing really. No. So
Yes.
this one pays dividends, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is, of course, if you use words and language that not everyone gets, you're only ever wasting like order of one time, like the time to deliver it. But to literally waste somebody's time takes no skill. So it's got to have this reverberation.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the butterfly effect, but for wasting time.
Yes. That's wow. That's deep. Because who knows how many puns were only made because the time was just wasted, and it's like, oh shoot, the love of my life walked by because I was thinking of the hurricane.
I was thinking of this.
The hurricane blows, and so now I'm just like, I'm single and I'm in my 40s and I'm just dicking around on my phone, and then I think of a really epic tweet. But like that wouldn't have happened
had I not heard this. Yeah.
If you hadn't written the tweet and that person had fallen in love.
Yes.
So,
think of how many lives I've ruined.
think of how many. This goes out to all the unborn puns out there from other dimensions in the multiverse. Dude, we're getting so close. I don't have a lot that I would move. We should hurt from walking switch to good.
We should have put like a number of changes we're allowed to make it extra hard
for a 3-hour podcast. Like,
yeah.
I gotta pad this shit out, bud.
Why do you need to go for 3 hours?
If this was a board game, sure, we'd have a chess clock. Like I don't.
All right.
Why do I have to go for 3 hours? Because that's what we do. This is drive time radio. It's not about this is a quantity over quality thing, right? Like our conference talks, right? You and I will spend months stressing about individual bits in our conference talks. There was one that we talked about in August for my talk in September, where I'd come up with this whole, Steve Ballmer, developers, like one developer versus many, and then a whole Steve Jobs motif. And we talked, I called you to talk through it. I cut all of it, 100% of it, but this podcast, what's great about it is, so the end result of a talk is I can only give you 30 minutes of content. If all you need is content sludge to pass the time while you eat snacks at midnight before going to bed so that your tummy hurts in the morning, 30 minutes isn't enough. I want to give you half a week's worth of night eating, something to listen to while you, while you binge eat chocolate and protein bars like I do.
Well, I guess I don't know. As I said earlier in this podcast, I think I've only listened to one all the way through, but
it's not for you. You're too busy.
I know. I think though, once TikTok gets banned, I'll probably listen to this more.
Yeah. So, for you don't have a dog, you don't have a commute, and you say you don't listen to podcasts or listen to stuff while you're doing chores.
Yes, correct.
Those are the 3 times to listen to podcasts, right? For me, it's almost only just doing chores is when I listen. And I run. I listen to them while I run. Do you listen to podcasts while you run?
Yeah, but I listen to useful ones.
Like Planet Money?
No, I listen to Marketplace. It's very boring, but I listen to Marketplace.
Sorry, I get those two confused. I know you really like one of them.
Yes, I really like Marketplace. Planet Money
is that the Kai Ryssdal one?
Good. Yeah, Kai Ryssdal.
Right.
It's because it's new. It's news, but it's also economic news, which I like listening to. Though I might have to not listen for the next 4 to 8 years.
Everything is political.
Yeah.
Get the politics out of my economy. Ugh. Kyrie's,
No,
it's also sassy. You like sass.
I do like sass, but it's not like, I'm just afraid that I'll be too. I think that politics and economy go together. It makes sense. Like they absolutely do. The problem is it's just too depressing. Like I can't
get over it.
No.
I'm buying time, if you can't tell, listeners. Like I don't know where
buying. What are you buying time for?
Just try to figure out what my next turn's gonna. It's my turn.
Buying time.
And I don't.
Okay.
I want quality time with my best friend Aaron here. I don't want to.
I thought you were gonna talk about like a timeshare or something.
I do live in Orlando, and I've got a lot to talk about. Timeshares and like, oh man. I do want to buy time, but like the story that I've got queued up in my brain right now is like a 15-minute fucking story, and we're just not going to do that.
All right. Let's rank some puns.
Ranking some puns. I love that the fulcrum of the lever that is the above below, like what is the water line for this list, is literally the going camping with my family this week. It's intense. Like that is, are you better or worse than that is just like the perfect litmus test for where you land. And so I'm back to it again. Like I'm thinking, I heard camera stores are always having a flash sale. It's better.
Pretty funny. Yeah, it is pretty funny.
I'm just going to do, so now we're in the phase of
wow. Okay.
We're in the chess game where it's like kind of a stalemate, but not quite. And so you just have like, we're each moving a pawn pointlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so that just to be clear for the listeners, version 20's pun is now ranked at number 11.
I heard that camera stores are always having a flash sale. It's true. High powered pun. That was a pun. High power flash. Okay.
Not your best.
I'm really sorry to do this. I know there are no sacred cows in the Punsort.
God, I know you're doing it. Fuck you, man.
But I gotta move the breaking change pun. Like I know it's near.
Oh, I thought you were gonna move one of the sacred 21 to 26s.
No. We agreed not to do that. I'm sticking with that. I gotta move the breaking change pun. Like I know it's the inaugural pun. It's a good pun. But I really think corn maze is better. So it's sorry.
Well, while we're moving it, is what about the feet and meters one? Is so right below is my feet really hurt from walking, so I decided to switch to meters. Is the breaking change pun?
I think it's better. Yes, I do think it's better.
Okay. It's so close. This whole group of 4 right now, what we currently have between 9 to 12, all the ones we were just been talking about, like they are neck and neck for me.
I mean, if I was going to move another one, I would move 14 down. Like, I don't know if I want to talk my game out here, but I'd move 14 down. Justin kept asking me to make a Halloween-based pun. I guess he was afraid I might ghost him. Okay. Just throwing this out here. I think Hurricane is better than that one. Yeah, I think Hurricane is better than that one.
Then are you saying you want to move Hurricane up?
I'd move 16 up above 14. Billy Joel, like I do like Billy Joel. I just think the ghosting one isn't that good, is what I'm trying to say here. I'm not sure where it needs to go in the list, but I just don't think it's that good.
It's your move. You got to drag it.
Is it? I already did a move, but I'll do another one.
Wait, didn't I just move one up?
Did you?
I moved oh fuck. Do we have to use like the Command Z to figure this out?
I did the last one for sure.
What did you just move?
I moved
listeners are going to be outraged.
I moved breaking change down.
Oh, okay. Wait, really?
Yeah, I did. It was
number 8. I was the last move. I hit Command Z, and you see I've got the
you moved the flash sale one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
remember?
Okay.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Okay. All right.
We almost made it. Now I got to throw this whole fucking recording away.
Halloween-based puns, that's going down.
Yeah.
So sorry. And since I get to make the rules here, I'm doing a second move. I'm moving Hurricane above Billy Joel.
Wait a second. No, hold on a second. The algorithm has 3 steps.
Okay, fine. I have my next move planned then. Go.
So just to be clear, for the record, now that I know Command Z is a safe thing to use. Okay, you haven't made the move in the spreadsheet yet. Nothing's moved.
I did move it.
Oh, so we each have separate undo redo history.
Yeah, I've made 2 moves in a row, I'm pretty sure.
Can you please hit undo so we can see where we are? Fuck. Command Z.
Yeah, I moved breaking change down.
So I might be wrong. Maybe you're right, because the evidence that I had for me having gone, well, then you'd be going 3 times in a row. So at least back out one of these.
All right, I'm backing out that one. There, you're up.
Right, we'll call it a TKO or something. All right,
Okay.
It's my gift to you. Merry fucking Christmas. All right. So what just happened, folks?
No, look, your listeners are not keeping this list in their mind.
Some are. We got some.
I was
gonna say we got some folks on the spectrum, which would indicate an autistic savant.
Nobody is.
But you can't say that.
No.
So I'm not gonna say that.
We just had. So it turns out maybe I took 2 moves in a row, which would be a breaking change.
Oh.
To our album.
So, but now you undid the last one.
I did
right?
undid the last one. Yeah, it's your
undid
turn.
both of them.
No, I undid one of them.
All right, whatever.
It's your turn.
Guess what I'm gonna do?
What?
Because you convinced me I'm gonna do the same shit you were gonna do anyway.
Okay, all right, fine.
I'm gonna move, but I'm gonna do this by moving Hurricane up. I'm gonna say Hurricane is better than the Halloween one. You convinced me, but I still like the Ghost one better than the Billy Joel one. You're free to move it. I got all night.
So I think personally, currently, 15 through 26 are done. I think they're solid.
Are you looking for an agreement?
Yes.
Let's lock it in.
I think we should lock in 15 through 26. I think they're done.
All right. Okay. Sounds good.
MacBook Profound. I like that. I like that one. Fly-by-night operation. Oh, goodness. I'm going to go... I'm moving number 7. I recently traveled to Toronto. No. Boy. Okay, no, I'm leaving it there. So I was going to move number 7. It says, I recently traveled to Toronto for work. I refuse to take a red eye, though, because I feel like they're a fly-by-night operation. I enjoy the pun, but I could make it more pithy. I already know I can make it more pithy.
It could have been tighter.
Yeah, we could have tightened this up a lot. I recently traveled to Toronto for work. That was true, because that's actually what I was doing at the time when I came up with this pun. And we could cut that. Because you could just say, I refuse to take a red-eye flight. Because I feel they are a fly-by-night operation. Though then you're using fly twice in there. That's kind of why I wanted to use traveled.
Yeah.
But I think it could be more pithy.
Yeah, you could just say, whenever I travel, I refuse to take red eyes.
Yes,
because they're fly-by-night
operation.
Yeah. So this is a whole vector of how to rate puns that we haven't gotten into, but this is what happens when you talk about rating puns for 3 hours. Is you're saying the pith factor?
Yeah.
Could this have accomplished the same thing and been tighter?
Yes. I think so. And the thing is, I think that if it's pithy enough, that actually magnifies the time wasting factor, because it's easier for you to like repeat pithy phrases in your head, right?
Right.
So it's going to come back to you more frequently, like blah blah blah, travel to Toronto for work, blah 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 blah. It's too much. You're not going to like. When are you also going to be in the situation where you're traveling to Toronto for work? It doesn't. You're not going to like identify with that.
But every time you go West Coast to East Coast, you're going to be looking at 2/3 of the flights are red eyes.
Yep.
And so if you just think as a general rule, don't book
Red
a
eye
red eye, it's
flights.
fly by night.
Fly by night. Yep.
You're going down.
Exactly. So that's why I think I have to move this one below corn maze. Done.
I thought you were going to move it further, and I was going to have a problem with it because it's so good.
No, it's still good. It's still very.
These are all
very
good puns.
It's just they are all VGPs.
All right, I have one more move.
Okay.
I did not plan this. I genuinely believe what I'm about to say. Currently, number 5 ranked is "Did you know that en garde is French? I learned that while studying on Duolingo." And the number 6 ranked is a top 5 pun, and it's "Aren't progressive web apps just liberal media?" And I think that the progressive web app one is better than the Duolingo one.
No.
And
okay.
I'm dragging it.
Go ahead, but
right
I completely disagree. Like the progressive web apps, just liberal media. I think that's funny. It's very, very funny. But the layers to the French onion, so many more layers. So
there's more layers inside the joke, but you don't do a lot of referential humor. It's all I can do because I'm not funny. Like as referential humor, like the progressive web apps one, it hits it was newsworthy. It's a moment in time.
Yeah, it's true.
It's true. Like the political angle with the technology. We don't get that very often.
But the thing is, we keep talking about how these puns need to stand on their own, and I'm worried that so it's true that pun does stand on its own, but it's way funnier in the context of what was going on, at the time.
There's two kinds of context. There's context that's private and context that's public, right? And so a lot of these are problematic because the context was basically we couldn't assume other people had it.
Yeah.
But I think anyone who follows tech news at all probably had a latent awareness about both what a progressive web app is and what this. That's my thinking anyway. Because again, when you talk about the pith factor, it lands every time.
Yeah, it's very pithy.
I failed delivery of the on guard one because I didn't inflect well.
It's true.
And then I failed to pronounce the thing well. So people listening are like, what the fuck is happening?
You're right. It is more pithy. Okay. You convinced me.
Yes.
You convinced me. I mean, yeah, okay. So it's like when we talk about time wasting, we have a few different, there's a few different vectors here, as you're saying, if the pun is long enough and then all of a sudden it lands and you're mad about it, you wasted, your time was completely wasted for that, listening to it. Hopefully,
sort of like we've wasted 3 hours now of our listeners' time listening to this.
Hopefully it will resonate with you, the pun, and then you'll think about it again. But I don't know if this is true or not, but I think generally more pithy things will resonate more frequently.
For sure.
Right? So you got to weigh that. There's kind of a trade-off there. So I think
it's the impact, right? So one is if you literally you hear a pun and it inflicts trauma upon you, it's going to resonate more. You're going to have nightmares about it, right? Like there's a Lewis Black, one of my favorite sets from I think it was the 90s, maybe early 2000s, was he had a bit where he talked about sitting at an IHOP. No, his friends were figuring out how to buy a cell phone or something. And in either of those scenarios, he goes on this tangent and he says, and then I heard this woman behind me say the phrase, "If it weren't for my horse, I would have never spent that year in college." And then he talks about how that phrase just went into his head and he just kept thinking what did she mean? And then he games out all the different rational, justifications for somebody saying that sentence. And so the impact of some of these hits, the progressive web app liberal media, because it continued to be in the news for a while and continues to be, I've thought of that pun 24 times. That's money in your pocket right there.
The problem is some of them are so infuriating that even if it's long, you're still going to think about it. You're still going to think about it later. Yeah, it cuts deeper, right?
And the Duolingo, maybe if you're a Duolingo user, you've thought of that one a lot.
Yeah, like the Duolingo one, I feel that one cuts deep. Like it's a good one. That's why I don't know, happy about that one. Okay. What do I want to change in here? I don't know, man. I don't know what I would change. I think we should argue over the top 10. I think 11 through 26 are done. Is that true? Do I think that? Hold on. Feet hurt from walking, so I decided to switch to meters. Camera stores are always having a flash sale.
Rather than try to lock down, just see if is there a single one that you'd move, because as soon as one of us doesn't have a move, that's it.
Or
both of us don't have a move.
I wouldn't move any of these. I wouldn't
move
these.
It's tennis rules, right? Where it's like if you get to like 40-40, then it's like somebody has to have game point and then match. So like we got to have 2 non-movements in a row.
I don't have a move. I'm passing to you. I don't know what to move.
So this is game point.
I mean, if you're wrong, I'm gonna move it.
Yeah, well, if I move one now, you can move again for sure. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean by tennis.
Yeah.
I'm similarly struggling. I mean, we've had a gentleman's agreement not to move 16 through 26, or maybe even 15 through 26. So now when I'm just looking at the top 14 here,
is the number one really the number one? I'm glad Americans are finally embracing.
It's not. We just haven't inspected this one. It's not the number one. No way.
It was real touch and go there.
Okay, it might be. I just haven't thought about it recently.
Because you touch and then you go.
Yes.
Oh man, the emulator one. Writing an emulator seems like a lot of work if you just want to game the system.
So are you saying it's still your turn and you want this move, or is
No, I can't. I'm not moving these. I'm happy. I'm just trying to reread the top ones and make sure I really am happy. I am.
Man, I'll be honest. The only thing that I'd move at this point, I'm looking at the number 1 and the number 2 spots, and I might swap them. For the listeners playing the home version of this game, the first one is what Aaron just read. The second one is writing an emulator seems like a lot of work if you just want to game the system.
They're both very, very good.
The emulator one is more obscure, and so some people won't get it. And so by the like, you're not going to waste anyone's time.
That's why I don't think that one's a number 1 pawn.
And I'm trying to see both sides, right? At the same time, the fact of the matter is, just to give this, maybe I just need to give this pun its moment to shine. If you don't remember the news, this has also been in the spring with the Digital Markets Act stuff. The game emulator Delta and Riley Titus or whatever, he made a lot of news. He's the first app in the new App Store rules and all this, and he had a side loading system that he built just to get this emulator on there, and he is now like the first one with the link out of the App Store. This is recent news, so that you can have different payment methods and charge an exorbitant rate, because he also has a Patreon. So he is clearly, even though he's like 22 or whatever,
gaming
the
system.
Yes. And if you have an emulator, its literal purpose is to emulate a system upon which one games.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it landed so hard with me. It's just like so fucking good.
Okay, I think if you move that one to number one, I think it's number one for you.
Right.
I don't think it's the number one pun.
I hear you. I you know, again, this is my turn, but I you know, if we're just gonna swap 1 and 2 all day, we gotta have this out. So I think what you just said is very true. It's number one for me because I have all that context. But like, you couldn't say this on Letterman or whatever, right? And have it make any sense. And I think it's fair to assume a certain amount of technology awareness of this program's audience. And so I'm not thinking about the universe. I'm thinking about people.
The audience. People who have made it to the 4th hour.
Right. And that's... It's like Taco Bell with 4th meal. So the only people who listen to this are people who either know something about technology, or they are they're in a marriage where there's a rule that the driver always gets to pick what to listen to, and they are a captive spouse or a child in the back of the car, which I've gotten text messages about, by the way, of like, hey, I was on a car trip and my spouse and I listened to this shit, and she has feelings, or he has feelings, or they have feelings. So in terms of target audience, I'm not super concerned that this doesn't have reach.
Yeah.
But I think that you are right in that if you're going for the, like, let's come up with the metric, right, of what makes a good pun. And I think that was my goal of this whole exercise. I think we might have stumbled on it, which is globally, universally, I want to maximize the total number of minutes wasted on planet Earth.
Yes.
Right? So that's a combination of reach and impact. And I think that even there are people who would get this joke, but maybe don't play games very much or don't use emulators, right? For whom, so the impact is variable, basically, right? So for some people, like, you know, we could both get the joke, but the impact doesn't cut as deep for me as it does for you, to your point. And so I think for me specifically, this is the best pun. But for a lot of listeners who aren't gamers, right, it's probably pretty shallow, even if they do get it. Whereas I'm really glad Americans are finally embracing tap to pay. It was real touch and go there for a while. Banger. Like, who doesn't pay for shit?
Yes.
We all pay for shit. Like, we all have. So
every time you're at the register, you're going to tap your credit card and be like,
yeah,
this is very touch and go.
This would go there for a while. And I've thought of that a few times, and I thought, fuck that man. Fucking right in his goddamn ear. Aaron Patterson. All right, that's it. That's ball game.
All right.
I'm not going to move it. So let's do, on our way out, a quick recitation of our top. We started bottom to top. This time we're going to go top to bottom.
Okay.
We'll be quick about it. We want to respect your time, but just kidding. We don't at all.
As we've
Punsort.
As we've reiterated
many times.
This is about not respecting your time.
If you're still listening, you're doing this to you. Like, that's all right. So I'll read the original ranking and then its final ranking for the year 2024 and season 1 of Breaking Change. Originally number 2 lands at number 1 from version 6 of the podcast.
I'm really glad Americans are finally embracing tap to pay. It was really touch and go there for a while.
I gotta give you a moment to breathe.
Yeah. All right.
Original ranking number 4 lands at number 2, goes up 2 spots from version 10 of the podcast.
Writing an emulator seems like a lot of work if you just want to game the system.
And an incredible comeback story. Originally ranked 23rd, and all the way up to number 3 from version 25 of the podcast.
I hear many outlets in Japan aren't grounded. If you're not careful, you could get a culture shock.
It's so good. One of my biggest life regrets is giving that thing 23. Original 5 upgraded to 4 from version 8.
I loved playing AAA games as a kid, but replacing the batteries got real expensive.
And this one shot up from number 12 to final answer number 5, a top 5 pun from version 5.
Aren't progressive web apps just liberal media?
Man, isn't it amazing it landed in the top 5? All right. This one shot up from number 10 to number 6 from version 9 of the podcast.
Did you know that en garde is French? I learned that while studying on Duolingo.
All right. Now, this one sadly dropped because we can't all be number 1, from number 1 to number 7. And this is from V27.
Did you know the ancient Aztec were really into Halloween? Apparently, they were famous for their corn maze.
Great delivery, bud.
Thank you.
This one went all the way up from from 17th to number 8 in the final ranking from version 15.
I recently traveled to Toronto for work. I refuse to take a red eye, though, because I feel they are a fly-by-night operation.
All right, great job. This one sadly had to drop. Our inaugural pun from version 1 of the podcast. It went from number 3 down to number 9.
Breaking change? Sorry, I don't carry cash.
This one went from 13 up to 10 from version 7.
My feet really hurt from walking, so I've decided to switch to meters.
All right. So that locks in our top 10. If you are still walking the dog, you can hear 11 through 26 now. So this one was 14. It's now 11 from version 20.
I heard camera stores are always having a flash sale.
And nice and pithy. And this one, sadly, also pithy, but dropped from 6 down to 12 from version 19.
Ooh. Going camping with my family this week. It's intense.
Nice. This one went from 7 down to 13 from version 26.
I once read a really great think piece on the business of recovering lost laptops. I found the article to be MacBook profound.
Wonderful. I'm surprised that one started at 7 when I didn't even get the joke. This one started at 15, went up by 1 to 14, version 21.
I've never been in a hurricane, but I heard it blows.
All right. And then this one started at 18, climbed its way up to 15 from version 23.
Justin kept asking you to make a Halloween-based pun. I guess he was afraid I might ghost him.
I was. This one dropped from 9 to 16 from V12.
Seeing Billy Joel in concert tonight, and thankfully nobody started a fire.
Rest in peace. From 19 to 17 from V24.
A lot of people are worried about their code getting too complex. And in Ruby, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of case when.
This was one of our bigger drops from 8 to 18 from V17.
I'm in Singapore this week for Red.RubyConf. I've heard that many people here either love the King of Fruit or they're just enduring it.
It's true, by the way. If you don't know what durian fruit is, it stinks. And it's not allowed on the subways. Similar to chewing gum. Originally at 11, is now at 19. So another pretty substantial drop. This is from version 3.
I wonder what tapas restaurants have to say about this EU App Store ruling.
Is this the only one that stayed where it was? The
Oh,
number
wow.
20 pun. Yeah, the number 20 from version 13.
When Apple product engineers ask their developers for estimates, do you think they iPad their deadlines?
This one dropped, this one actually rose from 25 to 21. This is the version 2.
I'm excited about Apple Vision Pro. I heard spatial computing will be out of this world.
And the next one stayed where it was as well at number 22 from V14.
Yes, I'm powered by AI, Aaron Intelligence.
I like that you're also getting impatient and reading these faster. Well, read this one faster, you asshole.
Oh, I love
this.
this
So the original one was, I know you do, buddy. Just take your time with it. Let it marinate. This one started at 16, dropped down to 23 from version 16.
Back in the 90s, web standards were quickly evolving. I really wanted to get experience with cutting-edge technology, so I decided to do my best and try to participate. Back then, internet technology was still finding its feet, so most standards bodies were formed by theorists rather than practitioners. Anyway, I wanted to throw my hat in the ring, so I decided to join a steering committee for an alternative to HTML4. Unfortunately, I ended up quitting because, like most steering committees, it took a turn for the worse.
Anyway.
Think how much time I wasted.
I'm thinking about it right now. Original ranking 21, ultimately landing at number 24 from V18.
I heard Bill Clinton builds his apps with SQL because he didn't have active relations with that app.
Not here to comment, but you read it both times. Active relations with that app, I think, and it's active record.
Oh, active record relations with that app. Yeah.
But active relations are also a thing.
That's
if you
true.
Get the 5 references embedded in this,
yes.
And it might actually be better for it. This last two have never been highly ranked. This was originally the worst pun, but now it is merely the second to worst pun from V4.
Are you enjoying Vision Pro?
And when it comes to puns, because they're intentionally bad, being the worst pun actually makes you good. Originally was 24, is now 26 from version 11.
I brought this type of feature up with a project manager back in the day, but they told me to just put a pin in it.
Which, out of context, is just a sentence someone might say.
Yes.
So it's okay.
It could have been fun. This could have been a good one. This could have been a winner.
So good.
Yeah, could have been a winner.
Well, there's always next year, Aaron. Thank you so much for spending time. Before I let you go, I'm curious, how did this go relative to how you expected it to go? How's this final sorting look compared to what you went in thinking?
I think it's pretty good. I got to tell you though, I agree. I kind of agree generally, except for number 23. That should have been way more at the top, but that's okay. We'll agree on where it is. I got to tell you though, the main thing I was worried about through this entire process, not this particular podcast, but previously, is like, I can't remember all the puns that I've sent you. So I'm really, really worried I might send you a repeat, and that would be very embarrassing to have on, like, a ranking like this.
Well, I've got some good news for you.
Yes.
First of all, in season 1, you did not repeat any puns, and I'm here to announce that because I don't want to do this next year and also re-rank these in the context of next year's puns, we are locking in the 2024 season of Breaking Change's puns here on air today.
Wow.
I will update the website. Wow.
Amazing.
Great job, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll hide it behind a disclosure, like a little triangle arrow or something, or just you can keep scrolling. If you go to justin.searles.co/puns, once we start airing new episodes in the new year, we're going to start a new table.
Great.
My idea for this was because I do all of this in GitHub flavored Markdown in a text file, and it's a pain in the ass to have to move things down because you got to update all the numbers below it. But also it's just, it's too much work. I think that having an annual event to look back on our sins and reflect is healthy. And so that's what we've done today. Aaron, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I'm really happy with where we wound up. I thought we would just sit here and fucking argue for hours and get nowhere and have to do a day 2 podcast. But and the fact that we wound up at around 3 hours is absurd. But that's, maybe I'm just a gas and fill my container. Let's call it. Do you have any parting thoughts before we play the outro?
No, I don't. I hope I wasted a lot of your time. in a good way.
Well, you don't have to stay here. Wait, you don't have to go home, but you don't have to stop wasting your time, but you can't waste it here anymore.
Absolutely. Like they always say.